Well, hello. Welcome back to another Girls Frontline 2 event story. It's that time again. Why is Switch telling me I have negative 60 seconds on my session? That's curious. Rush this. Oh, no, it's still doing it. Interesting. I wonder if that's some kind of ad garbage. Well, anyway. Frame self-diagnosis complete. System self-diagnosis complete. Attempting to connect to local area network. Failed. Accessing neural cloud backup. Failed. Selecting new neural log destination directory. Neural cloud will be backed up to a local destination. Confirmed. What is your model? A loud bang shatters the silence, and swaying rays of light cut through the darkness. For a moment, the dazzling light shines right into the doll's eyes, seemingly igniting a fire within them. State your frame model. SSD62D. Your employer? Not here. They don't know you either. Name. Ifwa. Ever seen these before? No. Ever been here before? No. Where did you put the stolen goods? I didn't. Look, I told you, I haven't even seen them before. What made the drag marks? Don't know. Do you know what the neon is? Obviously, I do. It's a legend from my hometown. Last question. Do you know the scavengers? Of course. Ifwa opens her eyes wide and glares at the one-way mirror in the room. She's taunting it. She knows someone is watching her through it. It's true that I came here for the scavengers, but it's also true that I wasn't involved in any funny business. And no matter how long you decide to lock me up here to let me reflect on my actions, no matter how many times you question me, my answer will always be the same. I didn't do it. Sunlight streams in through the structural beams overhead, giving the cold air the illusion of warmth. As Sabrina walks through the trade fair, her eyes light up as she takes in the items on display and the bright red festive decorations. Wow, it's cheese! You hardly ever see this in the yellow zone. Can I buy some, please? Oh, and there are ketchup, ham, and sausages too. The commander might want to try these. It's true that the ingredients here are rather uncommon in the yellow zone, but this isn't the time to think about what we'll be eating, no? Remember our mission, Sabrina. I'm sorry. It's just that things were so peaceful that I ended up... But this is urgent. Sabrina turns to a nearby stall owner and begins gesticulating wildly as she speaks, with her fingers pinched. Excuse me, but have you seen a doll? She's about this tall, a bit shorter than me, with a fiery color scheme, and looks very energetic and lively. No, wait, the last time I saw her was several years ago. What if she's neither fiery nor energetic now? No, that can't be. I'm sure she's still doing fine. Calm down. Let the owner put down what he's carrying first. Also, we have a picture of Kifwa, don't we? Pardon me, dear customer. Coming through. Man's burden is piled up far above his head. As he brushes past Sabrina, the shaky tower suddenly begins to collapse. Look out! Ah, my cargo! Yeah, I got it. You alright, senor? Stall owner dusts himself off as he gets back to his feet. Thank you, miss. I'm okay as long as my cargo is safe. But you're bleeding. Oh, it's just a scratch. However, this cargo is important for the climax of this festive trade fair. If anything happened to it, I wouldn't be able to make up for it even if you docked all of my points. I'm just glad you reacted so quickly, miss. Oh yes, I seem to remember you were asking me something. We were separated from one of our friends. Have you seen the doll in this picture? Let me take a look. Yeah, she seems kind of familiar. I think I've seen her before. Wait, really? Lucky us. We only just started looking and we've already found a clue. You seen her here? When did you see her? Where did she go? Slow down now, miss. No, wait. The doll I saw didn't look like her. I'm sorry, but there are just too many customers and dolls for me to clearly remember. We're having a festive trade fair after all. As for this doll, I might have seen her, might have not. Can't be sure. Festive trade fair? You didn't know about it? We've had a huge rush of customers recently, and most of them came just to attend ours. I'm pretty sure that in the entire Yellow Zone, hardly anyone else is bigger or better than us. The stall owner unconsciously puffs up his chest as he gives Sabrina a thumbs up. I mean, the festival's almost here, right? Every year we hold a special broker's fair here and lay out all the best stuff we've found over the course of the year. Most of it is the good stuff from the Green Zone. You come to the right place, dear customers. Wow, no wonder this place is so crowded. Perhaps, did Kihua come for the fair too? The busiest time of this fair is still a while off. Once it officially opens in a few days' time, every single bit of empty space here will be stuffed full of people. You see that half-built stage over there? They're setting it up for the opening ceremony. Once it's built, things will be ready to kick off. The owner looks up at a semi-assembled platform. He can't help his face from creasing with a smile. It seems you're really looking forward to the opening. Will there be a special performance on that day? Performance? Yeah, right. As if anyone would care about that nonsense. On that day, the stuff that the inspector hands out will be the real show. Cheese blocks? Collapse pieces? Everything. Food, spices, medicines, clothes, you name it. It's all there. It's a full half a year's worth of living supplies, only for permanent residents like us. During this time and in previous years, the owner suddenly lowers his voice. We'd already have our supplies on hand by this time last year. The auspicious day that the management committee decided on this year is later on, so the opening ceremony is also delayed until that day rolls around. It's apparently some kind of superstition or feng shui business, but I've got my doubts. Oops, I've said too much. After noticing a squad of uniformed security guards walking towards him, the owner immediately shuts up. What I'm saying is, since we've all waited an entire year for this, what's a few more days more? In any case, welcome to my stall, miss. Would you like anything? Even if we don't have it in stock, feel free to ask. I'd be happy to recommend a suitable place to you. Well, I like the cheese you have here, but something urgent just came up. Sabrina looks away from the stall owner's eager gaze and quickly pushes Groza elsewhere. Brokers' fairs like this are a rare sight in the Yellow Zone. Actually seeing one in the flesh is quite an eye-opener. It's hard to stay tense in an atmosphere like this. It's almost like a festival, in fact. Kihua, did she really go missing here? I don't see anything around that could threaten a tactical doll. Rosa scans her surroundings. They are surrounded by people moving goods, people decorating their stalls, people browsing through said stalls, and the air is filled with life and cheeriness that she hasn't seen in a while. This place is too big. We need to be more efficient. I'll inquire at those stalls over there. I'll leave this place to you, Sabrina. Remember to stay in touch. Once we've finished scouting out our assigned areas, we'll head back to meet up with the commander. Don't worry about it. Leave the matter of the cheese aside for now. Rosa lightly pats Sabrina on the back, and then turns and leaves without looking back. As the sun slowly descends in the western sky, the shadows of the crowd slowly begin to elongate. Commander, we're back. How did it go? Did you hear anything about Kifwa? It's just like the reports from before. Security in the settlement is quite good, and the stallholders at this fair are more relaxed when talking to us. Their wariness is lower, and they seem to be working together to focus on sales. Security is being handled by those patrolling guards. Unfortunately, there was no news about Kifwa, and while this might not be relevant, I'm somewhat concerned about that festive trade fair. You mean the one that's going to begin in a few days? I saw posters for it nearby while I was looking for information. Yes, it seems this community has a tradition of holding a special trade fair. In the past, the residents would receive half a year's worth of daily necessities on the opening ceremony, so everyone's looking forward to the start of the trade fair. However, what got my attention was the fact that the opening of this year's fair seems to have been delayed. I don't get it. What does this have to do with Kifwa? Well, it's just an unfounded guess. I might be overthinking things. Commander, we need more time to make a breakthrough in this case. Is Kifwa alright? She hasn't responded to our calls or texts. What exactly happened to her? Sabrina pulls up the text message log. The last one was sent 43 hours ago. Something big happened. Wait for me. Kifwa, aka Hawk. It's been 43 hours. If only her most recent coordinates were more precise. She's a big girl. She couldn't be hiding anywhere around here. Rena looks down at her communicator. The gray dot representing Kifwa's location does not move, and its stillness seems a little oppressive. Worrying about her won't do us any good. We need to find her as soon as possible. That will answer all of our questions. We'll be fine, Sabrina. Have some faith in Kifwa. Considering she could survive in the Yellow Zone by herself for all these years, I think she can look after herself for a few days even if she ran into a bit of trouble. Let's focus on gathering information here. That said, we need to be careful. Pose as fairgoers from the outside and don't draw the attention of the local police again. Yup, Kifwa will be fine, right? "12 hours ago. The Elmo suddenly breaks and abruptly wakes me from my nap. Outside the windows, an unknown light source is slowly brightening the sky. Commander, did we disrupt your sleep? We're almost at our destination. According to our planned route, we're still a short distance away. I'm trying to figure out why we stopped. The door to the ops room opens, and Mailing and Sabrina enters inside. Commander, are we there yet? Kifwa. Commander. Is it me, or are there tons of vehicles up ahead? Am I seeing things? Is my sanity slipping because I pulled too many all-nighters? I don't want this. I'm still young. Mailing, I don't think you're seeing things. Rosa pulls up the radar display, and the big screen is filled with densely packed blips representing various vehicles. They're spreading out in fan shape, moving slowly and erratically. Most of these vehicles are still operational, and I don't hear any sounds of fighting, so it's probably not a traffic accident caused by a firefight. I'm not wrong. This looks like a traffic jam, Commander. Whew. So it was a traffic jam. Thank goodness. I thought I was seeing... Huh? What? Wait, a traffic jam? In the yellow zone? Ailing lifts her head with a dazed look on her face, then pinches her cheeks. That hurt. But no, I'm not dreaming. Huh? I didn't know you could get traffic jams in places other than the green zone. It's hard to believe, but considering we're in an unregulated area with no traffic laws, once traffic volume exceeds the design capacity of the local roads, in the absence of people to direct traffic and adding on weather issues, traffic jams are a definite possibility. Commander, we can't drive the MCV into a situation like this. We'll need to change our mode of transportation to reach our destination. How about our jeeps? For that, let's verify our current information, Groza. Yes, Commander. Groza removes the radar image of the vehicles and rearranges the main display, centering a single line of big text. Something big happened. Wait for me. Kihwa, aka Hawk. 24 hours ago, Type 97S, or Kihwa as she's now known, lost contact after sending a message to us in Aminda. She was scheduled to rendezvous with us imminently. Subsequently, Amida contacted us, asking for help. Kihwa's last known location was at the coordinates up ahead, inside a settlement called Dark Steel Farm. Zoom in on Dark Steel Farm, and pull up any annotations you might have. Yes, Commander. According to the intel provided by Aminda, well, this... Is it Aminda or Amida? I think I missed the N last time. Anyway, while this settlement is called a farm, it no longer has any agricultural capability, being a legacy title from before the war. It was abandoned for a long time before being taken over by a group known as the Management. It is currently one of the most secure regions in the Yellow Sun. And dolls can still go missing in such a secure place. Seems worse than people going missing in lawless areas. The ops room door opens and a newcomer slides into our discussion. Well, this is the Yellow Zone after all. The fact that these settlements are still standing at all is a minor miracle. And to be fair, Darksteel Farm is quite well known among us brokers. Harry, what are you doing here? I came to see if I could help out. I dare say my knowledge of the Yellow Zone is second to none. Don't worry about me, Commander. Going through the intel. So that's the geography of the farm. It's in a good place. It has cliffs on 3 sides, making it very defensible. Definitely a good place for a settlement. Perhaps that's why they rebuilt it after it was abandoned. So you're saying we have to assault them on the side with a comparatively gentle slope? The side that is currently clogged up with vehicles? Now, I don't think the situation is serious enough that we have to mount a frontal assault. Management has set up a security checkpoint at the sole pass leading to the farm. Anyone with an entry permit obtained from a broker or a sufficiently well-known faction can enter after passing their inspection. An entry permit? I think I have some friends who've done business with Darksteel before. They might be able to help. Want me to try hitting them up? No need for that. Aminda's already applied to get some for us. Their entry guidelines also state that pretty much all forms of heavy weaponry are prohibited within Darksteel Farm. Also, the number of combat-capable dolls allowed to enter the settlement is limited, as you can see on the screen. That's all the intel we have, Commander. Please. A loud alert fills the air, and a comms request from Aminda fills the main screen, interrupting Rosa's words. Commander, it's from Aminda. Put her through. Hello, Kihwa's Commander. Oh hey, Miss Perry's there too. Thanks for your help during the race. I'm glad everyone made it out safely. I'm guessing that you've already reached Darksteel Farm by now. I became a little frantic because Kihwa's signal suddenly vanished. I only remembered some details later, once I was able to calm down. I'm glad you guys haven't had it out yet. We still have time, Aminda. Don't worry. Take your time. Okay. I've already transferred Kifua's affiliation to the Elmo. Darksteel Farm has tons of rules and regulations, so I think that'll help you get her back more easily. Got it. Thank you. Also, I also have one more piece of news. Amanda lowers her head, looking for something. Found it. Darksteel Farm has its own currency, so visitors have to go to a currency exchange to trade resources for a virtual currency called contribution points before they make purchases. So please prepare ahead of time if you plan to rest and resupply inside the settlement. That sounds very similar to Green Zone credits to me. Each region has its own independent credits, but I always thought everyone would stick to collapse pieces or Sardi's Gold in contamination zones like the underground brokers do. Yep. The trades and collapse pieces do exist, but it's only for large-scale transactions between management and underground brokers. All goods in the farm belong to the farm, and the residents earn contribution points through their labor, which they exchange for the items they need to survive. That system is similar to how things work in the safe zones, but don't confuse that place with an actual satellite city. It's a yellow zone settlement through and through. Amanda raises her head again and looks at us. Right, that's all the intel I have. I won't take up any more of your time, so please go find Kuiha as soon as possible. She is a capable assistant and a good friend of mine. If I just had more manpower on my side. Well, that's enough about that. In any case, I'm leaving it to you. Hope she comes back safely. After we exchange farewells, Amanda ends the transmission. Your orders, Commander. Since the security situation there is fairly stable, and our objective is just to find Kihua, we'll mount up while keeping a low profile and aim to settle things as quickly as we can. Rosa and Sabrina will accompany me through the farm security checkpoint. Everyone else will stand by on the Elmo. Are you not taking me, Commander? I want to help too. Barry raises her arms and hops around to get my attention. I reach down and pat her head. The comm situation on the Elmo is better, and staying aboard will help you to better leverage your intel advantage. Don't worry, you will be helping me. Well, if you say so, Commander. Commander, the Jeep is ready. We can head out any time. 10 hours ago. The Jeep emerges from the mass of milling vehicles like a ragged lion escaping a stampede of crazed wildebeests before coming to a halt. Covered by searchlights and gun muzzles, the crowd reluctantly forms up into a line. Model of accompanying dolls, number of accompanying dolls, weapon scan authorization, form completed and sent. Commander, I've finished filling in the pre-inspection form. Now we have to head over to the checkpoint. Looks like we'll be queuing up for a while. Rosa looks at the electronic sign in front of her. Estimated waiting time, 30 minutes. Wow, this is nothing like the rest of the yellow zones. Is it because there are tons of people here? Things here seem pretty stable, maybe even prosperous. There's a harshness behind that prosperity. Normal settlements wouldn't impose such rigorous security checks. Green zone amusement parks are also strictly vetted, but amusement parks don't have gun turrets flanking the entrance. Rosa looks up at the menacing gun barrels towering over her. Looks like they've got the whole line in enfilade. How exciting. I'm kind of curious. They have the habit of raking their security checkpoint with gunfire? Rosa doesn't respond, only looking at the gun turrets once again. Estimated waiting time, 15 minutes. We're almost there. The closer we get to the checkpoint, the more guards there are. There were hardly any people maintaining order when we were further away just now. Looks like they're concentrating their defenses around their home ground. Hello, and welcome to Darksteel Farm. Please have your entry permits ready for presentation. Before you enter the checkpoint, I will need to vet your pre-inspection forms. There's no need to stop. Please continue moving along. Rosa displays the entry permit that Aminda has requested for them. Received. One moment, please. A long, silent wait follows. Excuse me, is it done yet? Did you lose network connection or something? My apologies, but we have many visitors at the moment and some delays are to be expected. Please understand. There's something strange about that last part. Like there's a kind of unspoken, bizarre passive aggressiveness brewing in the background. Rosa, Sabrina. Sensing something wrong, I quietly whisper a warning to them. Oh, that was a whisper. Commander, what do you need me to do? Understood. Huh? Rosa realizes what I'm getting at and tucks her hands away without changing her expression, ready for battle. Estimated waiting time, 5 minutes. The guards usher the people ahead of us into the checkpoint. Sabrina begins getting uneasy too. Commander, is it me? Or are there more and more guards around us? Sabrina sidles up to me and asks me quietly, though there's still a hint of naive hope in her voice. Sorry to keep you waiting. A pair of gun muzzles suddenly appear from behind the guard, and the sound of turret machinery actuating comes from above us. Rosa moves to stand in front of me. Their entry permits have been frozen for confidential reasons. We politely request you cooperate with our investigations. Your personal dolls and weapons will be impounded for the time being. Should there be a misunderstanding, they will be returned to you shortly. Eh? Eh? You're taking us away? Where to? Potential hostiles incoming. Commander, your orders, please. I see people moving within the checkpoint, and more guards begin stepping outside. Guided by the guards, the people around us in the queue begin distancing themselves from us and move over to more distant inspection counters. The steadily widening gap they leave around us is filled by the guards erecting portable barriers. I look up at the turrets above us, which seem to be taking aim. Now! Pull back! Minute waiting time, 0 minutes. Never a dull moment. Let's lean in fire. I'm sure people that may be. Okay. Try that again. I'm sure people that might be watching the recordings probably tired of seeing the same doll arrangement, but it's not gonna matter at this level much who I bring. Alright, Sabrina, just whipping out random Italian. I'm not even gonna try that. Rosa, we're going to crash. We only just got on the Jeep. Screaming. Relax. A sharp turn is followed by a mad dash. What should we do? What should we do? They're still chasing us. My shield won't last much longer. Sudden braking is followed by rapid acceleration. Before the inertia can fling us out of the vehicle, Sabrina and I get slammed back into our seats. The traffic outside is heavy. It'll snarl them up too. They won't be able to pursue us for long. Keep it up for 30 more seconds. Oh, okay. The Jeep performs several nimble twists and turns before leaving the whole mess behind it. Whew. Looks like we lost them. Commander, Groza, you're amazing. A blinking light representing an incoming transmission comes on. It's from the Almo. I reach out and accept the transmission. Commander, I'm seeing your Jeep coming back. Did something happen? There was a small issue. Our entry permits were frozen and we were nearly detained by the checkpoint security. We just shook off their pursuit. Looks like going in through the front door isn't an option. You call that a small issue? You're so cool, Commander. We'll need to find another way into the settlement, Perry. Use your contacts and the Elmo's comms gear and think of something. I'll take Groza and Sabrina with me to scout the surroundings. Between us, we might be able to come up with a plan. This settlement was built over a set of ruins, so keep an eye out for pre-existing ventilation ducts, water pipes, and signs of remaining infrastructure. I refuse to believe they managed to seal everything off when they built the settlement. Got it. I'll work on it right away. I lean back into my seat, calming my racing heartbeat and respiration. We should get started, too. 6 hours ago. Commander, our drones found an abandoned passage. It looks like a sewer from a long time ago. It might be able to bypass the checkpoint and allow access to the settlement. Send the details over. Harry sends the footage and coordinates from the recon drone. Our drones only managed to penetrate a short way into the passage because there was a drainage grate inside. There's a lot of stuff caught on the grate too, so this is all we could get. A doll could probably tear through it if they went in, though. It's nearby. That's good. Commander, Sabrina and I can head in to scout the path. Alright, let's move out. Frame self-diagnosis complete. System self-diagnosis complete. Attempting to connect to local area network. Failed. Accessing neural cloud backup. Failed. Selecting new neural log destination directory. Neural cloud will be backed up to a local destination. Confirmed. This is 62D. Kihwa. This interview session regarding your involvement with multiple supply theft incidents will be conducted under the supervision of the inspector and 3 on-duty representatives. Please be aware that your statements are admissible in a court of law. Do you fully understand the preceding statement as it has been presented to you? Yes, you already told me last time. An image is projected on the wall and Kifa looks at it. A pair of tactical dolls flank a human in body armor as they slowly retreat from an encirclement of security troopers. Their situation looks precarious. Kifa's attention is drawn to the silver-haired doll who seems to be at a loss for what to do next. Then she quickly glances at the other doll and then the human that they're both protecting. She stares at them for a long time until her attention is drawn away by the head interrogator. Do you know the people in this image? Can't be sure. Did they come to link up with you? I can't be sure. No, wait. Even if I did know them, they'd only be here to pick me up. What's this nonsense about linking up with me? Your statement indicates that these people are similar to others that you know. Is that true? Do you know who they are? I maintain my right to silence. You guys have that here, right? Do you or do you not know their plan and route of withdrawal? Nope. Have you told them where the stolen goods are placed? That's a leading question. I don't know anything about those stolen goods or whatever. Let's move back to you. Do you have any collaborators? Collaborators? Say what? Obviously, she isn't going to get an answer. After a brief silence, a voice interrupts the questioning. Inspector, I have something to say. It's important. It's urgent. The speaker is so excited that his voice cracks a little, but Gifa can just barely make out the voice's owner. Gifa's eyes light up. Chief Yura? Are you over there? I think I heard your voice. Sit down, Yura. It's not your place to speak. I have evidence. My people just found some new evidence. The loudspeaker cuts off with a beep, leaving only the sound of electrical humming and crackling to echo inside the room. Yura? Hello? Can't hear you guys. Hello? Hey, are you listening to me? Silence engulfs the room. Eva looks at the one-way mirror and she has a vague idea about what might be happening on the other side. But it's beyond her reach. Comms check. Commander, this is Grozo and Sabrina. I read you. The beam from a headlamp barely manages to illuminate the ground at my feet, but it also makes the fathomless darkness all the more sinister. Rosa can hear the echoes of her voice and her footsteps. We just cut through 2 layers of the grate, and we've made it into the tunnel. There seems to be more than one path through here, and I can feel the movement of the air. I think there's another opening here. We haven't encountered any enemies so far. We're continuing toward the center of the settlement, but it seems a little too quiet. What are the conditions inside the tunnel? We're seeing signs of limescale and traces of sedimentation. Harry's guess was right. This was probably part of the drainage system, just abandoned for a long time. The insides are pretty flat, and the atmospheric sensors aren't picking up anything unusual. It looks like things are going more smoothly than expected. Don't get careless. Stay alert and carry on. Understood. The transmission ends. Groza, what did you mean when you said it seems a little too quiet? Isn't that a good thing? Doubt starts creeping into Sabrina's voice. Why would they overlook a tunnel of this size? Not like it's a smaller drain. People on the surface are well equipped. They didn't fortify or harden an obvious opening like this. I find it hard to believe that this was just an oversight by the settlement's leadership. Since when was our luck ever this good? Yeah, you're right. But what could it mean? Maybe there's some reason that they don't need to defend this place. Or perhaps setting up defenses were too costly. Huh? Wait, does that mean this place is dangerous? I'm starting to get goosebumps. Rosa suddenly comes to a halt. What happened? You hear something? I might be imagining things. No, you should come listen to it too. Sabrina stops and tilts her head attentively. No? Don't hear a thing. Sabrina pulls a small device out of her frame's internal storage. I made this audio amplifier myself. Maybe I'll hear something when I hook it up. A gentle breeze blows through and carries with it a quiet sound like some kind of ephemeral wailing. I think I heard something. It sounds like human speech. Rosa, this is the physical world, right? Ghosts and such, they don't exist, right? Human speech? What are they saying? Shh. I'll try and listen in. Help me? Help me? Well, it's definitely human speech. Ah, it's coming closer to us. Quiet cry for help. Sound of something heavy dragging across the ground. Footsteps gradually resolving into clarity. Cut your lights and hug the wall now. What? What's happening all of a sudden? Too late. Before she can finish, a swift gust of wind rushes past Sabrina's legs. What are all these idiots doing here? Prepare for battle. I have to say they really kind of downplay the nature of the Elids in the second game, because if I remember correctly, a lot of them are just humans that have been mutated Meanwhile, they show up in the game as animals. Odd choice. Yeah, I'd imagine some of them are probably animals, but... Rosa takes down the last of the Aelids. Finally. Was that the last one? Can I turn my lights on now? I'm turning mine on now. A person calling for help. She's still alive. Miss, you're alright now. Are you hurt? The woman in question has collapsed on the ground. Her eyes drift around unfocusedly, and then she suddenly erupts into an ear-piercing shriek. Yeah, I'm not voicing that, but you know, you can imagine it. You beat up all the bad guys. It's okay, it's okay. Stay back. Miss, you're hurt. You need help? We're dolls, not Elids. Sabrina tries to smile in a disarming way as much as possible. Rosa tugs on Sabrina's sleeve and shakes her head imperceptibly. Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Her wailing trails off into silence. Miss? Miss? Oh no, she's passed out. From blood loss? What should we do now? I'll try to stop the bleeding. Sabrina pulls the first aid kit out from our frame's internal storage. Rosa quickly triages the woman's injuries, and then she glances toward the direction the Elids and the woman have come from. The signs of drag marks are immediately obvious. Most of the blood loss is from gunshot wounds. Her abrasions aren't too severe, and she was only dragged for a short distance. I'm guessing they probably use this tunnel to dispose of people. If we could follow them back to their source, perhaps their origin is also our destination. Are we bringing her with us while we do that? Moving while carrying a casualty is kind of difficult. Sabrina, you stay here and care for her. Back me up when needed. I'll head out for a bit before coming back. I'll only be gone for 20 minutes. It won't be far, and the risk should be manageable. But that's so dangerous. If you run into Elids again... Elids... Sabrina meets Rosa's gaze and swallows the words she was about to say. Okay, I got it. Still, don't push yourself too hard, and come back soon. 20 minutes later. I receive a comms request from Rosa while I sit in the Jeep. Rosa, how's it looking? Commander, we've found an entrance to the settlement. However, something unexpected happened. Rosa briefly describes what happened. Got it. So that wounded lady is out of danger for a moment, but she can't be moved easily either. Is that it? Yes, Commander. Should we bring her back to the Elmo? We can't be sure if she's an ally or an enemy, and we don't know about Kikwa's condition. Rosa, Sabrina, wait there for a bit. I'll meet up with you, and then we'll enter the settlement together. As for the wounded woman, I'll have Kolfin, and Vepli look after her. Or say her name right. We'll decide our next move once she regains consciousness. Understood. These are robots again.
勝祝いにナンバ作ろうかいな。
Our first day of searching for Kikwa and the trade fair ends in failure. We discuss our next move after meeting up. Should we go and investigate another location? While few places are as populated as the trade fair, we might be able to learn something new. Or maybe we could walk around the fair again. We've only gone around the place once, so we might have missed something. Sabrina looks over the trade fair again. There are eye-catching mascots everywhere, and while the decorations aren't too fancy, they're enough to dazzle the eye. The vendors and customers just keep pouring in, making the environment more and more complex with each passing moment. Let me think. Commander, there's a heavy... Rosa's warning is drowned out by the roar of the engines. All I see is her mouth moving and the crowd beginning to move. Vendors don't look nervous. Why is that? Rosa freezes up for a moment and then begins surveying her surroundings without saying a word. Nearby merchants look afraid. In fact, they're smiling. Indeed, this kind of noise usually precedes a bandit raid. In other settlements, merchants would have started packing up their stalls by now. It's the expedition team. The expedition team has returned. I heard that the road running in from the front of the warehouses was under repair recently, so the expedition team is detouring through here. Friend, you say expedition. What exactly are you talking about? Oh, are you customers from the outside? You'll see a bunch of heavily armed guys passing through here in a bit. They're the expedition forces of our Darksteel farm. Don't worry, dear customer. I'm not here for involuntary asset transfers. We don't operate like people on the outside. Look, their convoy is actually passing through. It's your lucky day. You'll get to see our expedition team leader in the flesh. That doesn't happen often. Their expeditions usually go on for a really long time. In the past, Leader Garen would bring his boys back in just a few days, but recently they've been gone for up to 2 weeks at a time. Yeah, good thing they made it back in a timely manner. I bet they've got lots of good stuff with them. This is a good sign. The roar of the engines gradually dies down, and everyone turns to look in the same direction. A convoy of jeeps and heavy bikes slowly cruises by. The convoy is led by a big motorcycle. Its rider is a massive man in full combat gear who's casually steering his ride with one hand while waving with the other. His response seems to excite the surrounding vendors, who begin to shout and cheer. You might not know this, but the reason why we can set up here without having to worry about anything is because Expedition Leader Garen and his boys go out and collect supplies for us. In fact, it's thanks to Leader Garen's valiant efforts that this festive trade fair is even possible in the first place. It's every man for himself on the outside, right? In here, everyone has a job and we do it. The expedition team finds stuff and we sell it. Yeah, life's easy for us because everyone does their part. Still, the hardest working people on the farm are Inspector Leo and Expedition Leader Garen. Yep, it's got to be Inspector Leo and Expedition Leader Garen. No doubt about it. It's the Inspector and the Expedition Leader. Why aren't you inquiring further, dear customer? Aren't you the least bit curious about these big shots of ours? How can we keep praising them if you don't ask us about them? Go on. The vendors seem to be in such high spirits that it actually comes off as a little oppressive to the dolls. Okay, so why does everyone like them so much anyway? Aw, it's nothing special really. Just because they built Darksteel Farm with their own hands, brought everyone together, and distributed the work among all of us. That's all. That's right. And they built our checkpoint, laid down the settlement guidelines, made sure they came back from all their expeditions with something to show for them, and enriched all our lives with a fair and well-planned system of distributing resources. Simple as that. The vendors are all smiles as they look expectantly at the dolls. Why are you looking at me? Are you waiting for me to say something? Let me see. I see. Your inspector and expedition team leader sound like great people. Bringing Sabrina along was the right decision. The vendor seemed satisfied with that. Just then, there's movement from the other side of the trade fair. A man escorted by uniformed guards heads toward the expedition convoy. The vendor's attention are drawn to the newcomer. Oh, hey, the inspector's come to welcome the expedition back. You sure are lucky, dear customers. You get to see both of our prominent figures at once. That's pretty good, right? Since our big shots get along, the rest of us can live in peace. I heard that in the past, they were both bounty hunters who befriended each other. Their friendship's older than this settlement. Both contingents make contact, and from where I'm standing, I can see the expedition leader take off his mask and laugh heartily. The inspector and the expedition leader clap each other on the shoulders and their mouths move, but their words are drowned out by the surrounding noise. Rosa, can you get closer? Try and eavesdrop on what they're saying. Rosa nods and blends into the excited crowd. Shortly afterwards, the groups head away from the trade fair together, and Rosa returns to my side. They were just exchanging greetings. The inspector seemed to be asking about their casualty status, and the expedition leader replied, "We're old hands at this, so we didn't lose anyone. It was a milk run. You, on the other hand, you'd better speak up if you're having any difficulties. You both know how things have been for the past 2 years." It doesn't sound like anything special. Is all this stuff we're learning going to help us find Kihua? Doesn't seem relevant right now. Perhaps we need to change our approach. Let me think. Right, back to work. Seeing the inspector and the expedition leader make me feel like I need to do my part too. Best of Trade Fair is our battleground. That's right. We need to lock in too. I'll keep an eye on my stall, and Nyan isn't going to take a single gram away from me. Even if Boojum comes, I won't get anything from me either. Blah blah blah. I'd rather those Boojums stay away forever. Well, even if one does turn up, I'm sure Expedition Leader Garen can deal with it, right? I heard that he beat 100 Elids to death when he was outside, with his bare hands. What? What? Do humans even do that? Why not? That's what all those pulp novels from circulating in the farm say. Granted, I haven't actually seen him do it in person, but it's gotta be grounded in reality. There's gotta be some basis to it, right? Still, I haven't heard about anyone being robbed by the Nyan recently. My nephew's in the guards, and they say they've caught a suspect for being the Nyan. Maybe there won't be any more robberies from now on. You can catch something like that? My uncle's in the expedition team. He says it's an immortal monster that comes and goes without a trace, and only goes to sleep in spring. I have no idea what they're talking about since just now. What's the Nyan? Is that some new kind of Elid? I'm not too sure. Apparently one's been captured, and Kihua went missing around the same time. It's worth looking into. The Nyan. Sounds kind of familiar. Now, who mentioned it before? Was Mailing? I think Mailing told me a story about it in the past. A light snow had been falling outside back then, and the seasons seemed to match up. Meh, why not just ask them directly? These vendors seem like nice people. Surely they'll tell us all about it, right? Sabrina decides to ask them about the Nyan. Nyan, Well, you don't need to worry about it, dear customer. Looks like it was actually a thief mucking about. I've never heard of it going after outsiders before. That expedition team uncle of mine said that it comes out to cause trouble when winter gives way to spring, and it goes back to sleep when spring comes. Hang in there. It won't be long. The festive trade fair is coming, and so is spring, like they say in the farm. Stronger and stronger each spring. Haha. This Nyan sounds like a marvelous beast. Is your uncle an expert on such things? Nah, all the stuff about the Nyan was collected by his pals on the expedition team from data chips they found outside. It's just that recently, we've been losing stuff here and there, and it fit the description of that Nyan monster causing trouble. Utter nonsense. What's all this rubbish about monsters? If you ask me, it's the fault of those trash collectors. My nephew in the guards has been doing extra shifts because of them for a long time now. They've changed patrols, and apparently they found weird tracks where those trash collectors live. Personally, I think it was done by some horrible UMA or something. I mean, we're in the contamination zone. I wouldn't be surprised if there were weird mutants running around. There's no getting through to occult freaks like you. As if you're any better. Where's your proof, you conspiracy theorist? Thanks, guys. We'll take our leave then. Let us be arguing with each other and pay no heed to us. Sabrina breathes a sigh of relief as she backs away. She then signals to Groza and me, indicating that we should follow her. However, in her relief, Sabrina has not realized that a squad of patrolling guards is approaching us. Sabrina, look. Rose's warning comes too late. As Sabrina backs up, she crashes into the guards behind her. I'm sorry. Alright, dear guests. Actually, we were looking for you. Would you mind coming with us? Could it be that you've seen the doll we were looking for? I'm sorry, but I don't quite get your meaning. However, I'm sure you don't want to cause a big disturbance here, am I right? Well, of course we don't want to make trouble, but... I mean, while you're in uniforms and look really convincing, blindly following strangers in the yellow zone is really dangerous. I'll need a more convincing reason to go with you. Rosa looks at me, and after seeing me nod, she indicates that Sabrina doesn't need to stall them. After all, rather than traipse around trying our luck, I'd rather place my faith in this chance to turning our situation around. Who knows, we might end up finding a new clue. That's alright, Sabrina. Please lead the way, gentlemen. The guard squad leader nods and takes us to a place on the outskirts of the fair. There are empty stalls around us, and the lights are off. There are signs reading "Preparing for the fair" nearby. We apologize for interrupting your shopping, but we received an anonymous report from a stall owner. Apparently, you've been browsing the fair for several hours but haven't purchased anything. Is that true? The guard's polite but suspicious gaze falls on our empty hands. We simply wish to understand the wares that are on offer at your trade fair in order to optimize our financial expenditures and acquire everything at once. And since the festive fair hasn't officially opened yet, I believe we ought to have some time to consider our purchases. Are we not free to do that? I see. That is the most sensible explanation. However, according to that anonymous report, you, specifically these two dolls, did not ask any questions about what our sales personnel were selling. We've only just arrived here, so being curious about unfamiliar things is unavoidable. These questions were also meant to help us determine the length of our stay and the reliability of our merchandise. I see. Perhaps this was just a misunderstanding. However, we are compelled to do our due diligence, and thus I must remind you that according to the farm resident regulations, any personal inquiries, eavesdropping, and other such activities that are not sanctioned by the farm management are considered illegal. Repeat offenders will be banished from the farm and permanently barred from entry. Surely you must have heard that when passing through the security checkpoint. I urge you to keep that in mind and avoid doing this again. Being permanently barred from entry sounds pretty stiff. Well, that's a stroke of bad luck. I exchange glances with Groza. I see. We'll keep that in mind. Now then, please show us your entry permits. This interaction constitutes a first warning. I'll need to verify your entry permit serial number and ensure that said warning has been logged. Eh? An entry permit? Sabrina sidles up to me and nervously asks me a question. Commander, our entry permits, they won't work, right? I mean, even asking around is illegal, then what are they going to think of legal immigration like what we just did? You think they'll dump us off the side of a cliff? I pat Sabrina's back to console her while I observe the surroundings. We're on the edges of the trade fair, and the cold wind is blowing wildly through the empty stalls. There are drifts of uncleared gray-white snow piled up against the walls. Even if we make a ruckus, I doubt it will draw much attention. Thanks for the follow, Jackson67. I give Groza a meaningful look. Certainly, my permit's right here. I make a show of reaching into my backpack, and the guards focus their attention on me. Groza's ready to strike. Here you go. The guard squad leader reflexively reaches out to take my permit. I grab his hand and immediately put his arm into a lock. The other guards are taken completely by surprise. Rosa, knock them out. Will do. Rosa seizes the opportunity I've created while I yank the guard leader away from the squad. Sabrina, back Rosa up. Just like that? Sorry, Mr. Guard, but right now, I need to ensure freedom of movement. Oh, hang on a bit. I want to top off my battery. Well, my mission is to provide support. Do your best, Grosso. You've already beaten half of the enemies. Sabrina, that's called supporting. Let's go. Everyone, we're withdrawing towards... Sabrina? Chocolate. I'm listening. You break out in that direction, right? Make sure you protect the commander. What's that in our withdrawal direction? Is that an ice sculpture? Oh, interesting. A device? Doesn't look like one. Perhaps we should check it out if we get the chance. I guess they're just gonna give this bot the runaround instead of just killing him and ending the mission. Okay. Ordinary guards are no match for tactical dolls. However, the dazed guards soon regain their bearings. This is Squad 3. This is Squad 3. Not good. Stop him. One of the guards is holding a communicator. Rosa runs toward him. The laser dot flickers across her back. I turn to the stray guard who's apparently slipped the net and kick his gun away. We're on the west side of the market. Send... Something whistles through the air and a spatula smashes into the guard's communicator, sending it flying. Stop! It's all a misunderstanding. A loud voice rings out from the distance. Everyone pauses for a moment, which is long enough for the girl who shouted to run up to us. Kifwa? Newcomer picks up the spatula and smiles breezily at us. Indeed, this is Type 97S, Kifwa, whom we haven't seen in a while. Yo, what's up, my old chromes? Kifwa, you're okay. But then why didn't you tell us? You scared my parts off. Sabrina steps up and gives Kifwa a warm hug. Kifwa gently pats Sabrina on the back and then winks at me before gently extracting herself from Sabrina's arms and turning to the guard. Sorry about that, bro. Here's our permit. This is my commander. We were operating separately for a bit, but our signal was cut off. They panicked a little and forgot how things worked. Eva produces her entry permit and hands it to the guard squad leader. Don't worry, we'll follow the rules from now on. Clears. Assaulting an officer is also a violation of the rules. Aw, come on, you can't just let it slide. If they're passed out, I'll just shake them awake. How about that? I mean, it's not like anyone died, right? See? No serious injuries or anything. This doesn't even count as an assault here in the yellow zone. Maybe an accident or something at most. You're gonna wake people up? Let me help. After getting my approval, Sabrina and Groza begin helping Kihua with the cleanup to show her sincerity. Okay. I don't think they would just let me do that, but alright. Oh, what rubbish is this? You. Just then, the communicator that's lying on the ground nearby connects automatically, and a distress call from another guard squad comes through. Looks like your guard friends are busy. It's a festival, after and all. I mean, this is a key period for the trade fair, when there are the most people around, so since we're all right here, we won't delay you guys any further. So what say you close an eye to this, and we'll live our lives on the straight and narrow from now on. Doesn't that work out for everyone? The distress call from the communicator keeps going. The guard squad leader glares hard at Kifwa, then grits his teeth and picks up Kifwa's entry permit. Let me check your logs. So you were arrested, and you were just released? Yeah, it was a misunderstanding. Look, it says not guilty right there, doesn't it? You've had way too many people here recently, so it's no wonder why these hiccups keep happening. Like this time round, for example. Our commander's here to make big buys at your festive trade fair, and she's all about peaceful coexistence. Definitely not here to make trouble. The guard captain is silent for a very long time. Clearly, he doesn't want to deal with Kihua. Fine, then. The warning's been logged. Any future violations will result in a stiff penalty. Guard eyes us reproachfully. I hope you will all abide by the farm's rules from now on. Sure thing. Help me wish the rest of the boys a happy festival. Sorry for the trouble. The guard squad leader is forced to smile politely in response to Kihua's beaming grin, and then he goes to check on his downed men. Kihua helps lift up the unconscious guards and hands them over to their comrades, and then she pats her chest with a chuckle. Whew. We might not have gotten out of this so easily if the guards weren't already so overworked. At last, Kihua looks me in the eye. Her smile hasn't changed much, but there's a strange emotion in her eyes, one which doesn't translate well into words. Feels like she's getting emotional. Been a while, Commander. Her voice is softer than just now, with a hint of gentleness that's quite rare for her. Oh, and Sabrina and OTS 14? Glad to meet you. She's Groza. Just call her Groza from now on. Hello, Kihua. So our mission to find Kihua is complete then? Went better than expected. Kihua, I haven't seen you since you finished that job at the previous satellite city. How did you lose contact with us? When we get back, you'll have to tell me all about it. As Sabrina grabs Kihua and begins to drag her away, Groza looks at me. Commander, will we be going back now, or are we staying here a bit longer? Well, since Kihua's entry permit passed muster, I think we can make proper purchases. And if we can shop, why not call the others over from the Almo? festival is almost upon us, and Mailing has been looking forward to the shopping and celebration. Wait. Tifa tugs on Sabrina's arm, indicating that she should stop. Commander, please allow me to stay here for a few more days. I have some unfinished business that I need to take care of. Finished business? I can't talk about it here. Please follow me, everyone. Tifa's face grows serious as she looks at the nearby guards.
作戦終了。帰ろうか。
Discord is blowing up. Sorry, one sec. I'm getting some messages. The long winter night finally arrives in full by the time we reach the highland. Several gaunt workers are tying up strips of red cloth on their tents. Tifa says that they're decorating for the festive trade fair. She leads us to the edge of the settlement, which is bordered by barren land. The distorted forms of ruined buildings are visible in the distance. This is it. Let's go in. There are over a dozen tents around us, all lit up, which just barely serves to banish the darkness. Some of them have ornaments made of red paper on them. Their lights inside the tents make them cast twisted shadows on the ground. Tifa brings us into one of these tents. Tifa, are you out? I heard you were released this afternoon. I just knew you'd be here. Chief Yura, thought I heard your voice over the interrogation room loudspeaker. Did you get me out of there? They were asking me a bunch of questions I had no clue about, and they wouldn't let me leave either. I was bored out of my mind in there. Well, my boys discovered some new evidence that proved your innocence, so I had them send it in. Fortunately, I'm the scavenger representative in the management, so I could request to sit in on the questioning. Then that new evidence arrived just in time, so I submitted it. Thank you, and thanks to your boys and the scavengers. Well, you're a guest who came to help us, so it only makes sense that we should help you, if you were wronged. The festive trade fair is almost here. We couldn't just let you spend it rotting in jail, right? Oh yeah, these guests of yours are... This is my commander. These are my friends, Sabrina and Groza. So you're the commander that Kipo keeps talking about. Welcome to the scavenger camp. I'm sure you haven't spoken in a long time, so you must have a lot to talk about, right? Well, don't be shy. Feel free to take a load off and rest here. The scavengers always welcome new members to the family. Yura stands up and gives us the tent for ourselves. I'll go see whether our experiments in raising crops have borne fruit. Feel free to catch up with each other. It looks like this tent is ours for the time being. Alright, have a seat, and let me tell you the story so far. Quick, tell us. Amanda was worried about you too. Uh, Sorry for making you all worry. Anyway, just give me a few minutes to tell you a little of the historical background. I used to work in a green zone farm. Back then, my boss was an old lady who was really nice to dolls and took really good care of me. She came from what we now call Dark Steel Farm. But if I'm not wrong, Amanda's intel states that Dark Steel Farm was only just recently founded. I'm talking about the former Dark Steel Farm, before the war. Back then, it was still called Sunset Farm. After the farm was abandoned, its people wandered all over the place, but that lady was still really attached to her former home. After I decided to go work in the Yellow Zone, she asked me to find the descendants of her former friends and neighbors and check on them in her place. Wow, I think I heard you mention her before. I didn't know she had a background like that. Yep. I'd heard that someone rebuilt the farm, and after learning that the descendants of former farm residents were going back this year, I made plans to come by and pay it a visit. Then, Aminta came back from an underground brokers gathering and told me that she'd run into the commander and that the agreement's restrictions had been relaxed. So, as it turned out, going to the farm would end up bringing me back to the Elmo, too. I was thinking of taking care of the old lady's request, and then meeting up with the commander after everything was settled, but I didn't expect that I would end up causing trouble for everyone. Aoife puts her hands together apologetically and smiles sheepishly. No problem. Keep going. So why did the people here lock you up anyway? Well, there had been a spate of theft cases shortly after my arrival, with the stolen items being rare spices, and the guards just so happened to find unknown drag marks in the barren land out back. The only people there were me and the scavengers. The guards weren't able to find anything on the scavengers, but they just happened to find the exact same spices that they were missing on me. Like, are we not allowed to cook stuff that actually tastes good? Couldn't they have imagined that I might have brought it along myself? Aoife slaps her thigh in annoyance, then she glances at me and mutters under her breath. I went out of my way to gather all those spices. Since we were meeting again after so long, I wanted to show you that I'd learned during our time apart and give you a taste of my skills. Now the surprise is all ruined. Well, we've got a long time ahead of us. There's no need to rush it. So they arrested you because you just happened to have the same kind of spices on you, without any concrete proof that you had stolen it. Feels like the management's handling of the case is very sloppy. Well, that wasn't the only reason why. It was only after I came here that I learned that Sunset Farm's descendants were now called scavengers. Their living conditions here were pretty bad, and the other residents treated them like crap. I was living with the scavengers until a few days ago, which made me one of them in the eyes of Darksteel Farm. When they interrogated me, the guy doing it kept trying to make me say I stole stuff for them. So you're saying the management suspected the scavengers of using you to steal supplies, and they tried to use you to make their case? Yep. Chief Yura told me that the scavengers weren't doing too well on the farm. For starters, a lot of people ended up turning to thievery because they couldn't earn enough contribution points to survive. But the guards already dealt with them. Based on what I've seen so far, the descendants of Sunset Farm who are still here in the Highlands don't seem like criminals to me. It's hard to sway public opinion with a subjective opinion now that their biases have developed. So I was thinking and took a look at the situation. While a lot of stuff's been stolen, the scavengers wouldn't be starving like this if they'd actually managed to get their hands on it. Also, if The fact that I was released at all was because Chief Yura's evidence convinced them. When I came out, however, I heard the guards talking about how the evidence cleared me, but at the expense of making the scavengers look even more suspicious. Chief Yura never mentioned anything like that. Yuko scratches her head and shoots me a pleading, desperate look. Commander, I want to help clear the scavenger's name. That would help me help them and fulfill that request from my previous employer. Did you give me a few more days? The interior of the tent is dimly lit by a little red lantern in the corner of the room. Compared to the affluence of the trade fair, the people here, hemmed in by a circumstance, still tend to be positive. I look at Kifu's eyes, which shine with determination, and I find it very hard to say no to her. Let me guess. Even if I said no, you wouldn't let things be even if you came back to the Elmo, right? Yep, you know me best, Commander. And let's take care of this together and head back into town again. What? You said yes? Awesome. Kifu jumps for joy, but just as she's about to glomp me, I push her back into her seat. So, do you have any ideas on how to clear the scavengers' names? What can we do to help? Kifu's attention returns to the task at hand. Well, I didn't get to ask Chief Yura about the new evidence he found. Maybe I could go grab him and have him explain it to us. After seeing me nod in agreement, Kifu heads out and returns shortly afterwards with Chief Yura in tow. Commander, I heard Kifu say that you were willing to help us out. You arrived just in time. I'd like to thank you all on behalf of us scavengers. Well, that's enough meet and greet for now. Chief Yura, tell us about this new evidence you found. It's like this. These scavengers have been trying to plant new crops in the wasteland, and we take pictures of our plots at regular intervals as part of our experimental records. Yura indicates a new set of pictures to me. These pictures captured the drag marks, or what the guards consider evidence of transportation of stolen goods. While the guards only found those marks a couple of days ago, I'd like you to take a look at this picture. It was only when we checked the date of today's picture that we realized that marks like this had already shown up since last month, and Kifu hadn't arrived yet. See, and that meant I wasn't likely to be the suspect. Chief, thanks again for submitting this evidence. Well, the inspector here is a pretty reasonable guy, and he was the one who ultimately decided to release you after looking at the pictures. I wouldn't dare claim all the credit for that. Still, that won't prove the scavenger's innocence, right? Yura's forced smile fades. Well, I'm trying to do that. Truth is, a few of my boys might end up being taken in for questioning over the next few days. Commander, Kifu always said you were a very capable and knowledgeable person. Do you have any advice for us? To be frank, I don't fully understand the situation. Perhaps we might learn something if we had surveillance footage of the scene of the crime. Yura shifts uncomfortably. Well, for various reasons, everyone is wary of us scavengers. I know exactly where the security kiosks with the footage you need are located, but it's hard for us to go near those places. We'd probably end up reported before we even get there and end up spawning an entire tail of guards. If you know where to find it, then just leave it to me. Yep. Rosa, Sabrina, you should go with her. We can plan our next move after obtaining that footage. I see we piss off people some more. The night wears on. I wait in the tent for word from them. My communicator chirps and banishes my growing sleepiness. Commander. Star. Bepley's magnified face appears on the screen, like she's trying to smush it into the camera. Bepley, maybe you should back up a bit? Commander, why do you look so gloomy? Did you miss Vepley, Star? I'm gonna say Star. It's funnier that way. Vepley's ready to give you an extra special pep-up performance, Star. I heard people say that idols need to check their image before doing a show. Have you properly inspected your outfit, Vepley? If the commander saw Vepley in a messy state, that might damage your idol image. Huh? That's right. I can't let the commander see Vepley when she's a mess. Vepley squeals and hops off to the side. Commander, did you miss me? Wolfine is smiling, but it seems a little forced. Did anything new happen on your end, Colfine? Yes, that wounded lady is stable now. She's asleep at the moment, but she'll probably wake up soon. We can't perform more in-depth diagnosis or treatment in our current location, so I'd like to move her to a more suitable medical environment. Do we have access to anywhere that fits the bill, Commander? I see. I found a suitable location for the time being on my end. I'll send you the coordinates, so bring Miss Casualty over. Be careful on the way here, and keep a low profile. Keeping a low profile with Vepley around is a big ask. Still, it's no problem for me. See you later, Commander. Transmission ends, and the clock display in the corner of the screen silently increments. It's about time Kifua and the others checked in. Hey. All clear. Move in. Rosa and Sabrina jump up to where Kifua is and crouch behind a pile of junk. The cold light of the street lamps dyes the walls of the security kiosk a stark white. The boots of the patrolling guards tromp over the half-melted snow and leave a muddy path behind on the ground. Target is right below us. According to Chief Yura, this kiosk ought to have surveillance footage of the fair and settlement districts with the most theft cases. Should we contact a commander? Doing it now. Rosa, how are things going? Commander, the target is in sight. Once this patrol passes by, we'll have 15 minutes to approach the target. Right. I'll stay in touch on my end. There's a security camera there. Can you take care of it, Sabrina? Give it to me. I've got a camera disruptor. Disabling it for 15 minutes is no problem. The ground's slippery, so mind your feet. Terrain like that is kind of bad for high inertia frames, right? You'll be fine with me around. Wow, you're so awesome, Kifua. Hi, prepare to move out. Okay. Final guard in the patrol follows their route and heads into the distance. Behind him, the dolls silently land on the ground and approach the kiosk. Ugh, I can't open it. This lock is pretty solid. Let me try. Sabrina produces a small item and the lock cylinder clicks. It's open. Oh, that's awesome. What is that? It's just a miniature electromagnetic pulsar. Focus, ladies. People resist the urge to chat. She nods vigorously and then begins searching the kiosk. Oh no. Some of the cameras weren't activated. No, wait. They weren't even wired up in the first place because they were just dummies. So they were decoys? Dummies. So they're just there for a psychological effect? Are they trying to cut costs? This settlement doesn't seem hard-pressed for money, though. That does seem rather suspicious. The cameras we were looking for there? Speak of the devil, I just found out. Turns out the one we're looking for isn't the dummy. The camera's logs are here, but we really need high access levels to copy the data. Rosa, how much longer do we have? 8 minutes. Oh, I'm guessing they're going to level 2. Looks like we don't have time to hack ourselves better access. I was thinking of using our neural clouds to directly transcribe the data, which would also make it easier to filter through the scenes. Commander, does that work for you? Does. Proceed. The video data begins playing at high speed. What is this? I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary. Sure, the footage hasn't been doctored. Wait, I think it has. Look at this. Almost imperceptible. Those are editing artifacts. These videos are not the original footage. Can you restore the originals? And it's theoretically possible, but we'll need to access the servers in level 2 to crack their defenses. We only have 4 minutes to do it, though. 4 more minutes. Oh wait, we're down to 3. Commander, I think I can do it. You have 2.5 minutes. If it doesn't work out, forget it and focus on getting out of there. Will do. Almost out of time. Counting down now. 5, 4, 3, 2. We did it. We managed to restore the original data. I see the guards approaching. What are you standing around for? Move it already. The dolls make to leave. Nobody says anything else. In just a few minutes, the only sounds audible on the communicator are the sounds of the wind blowing, which eventually fades. Commander, do you read me? I read you. Go ahead. Found a hiding place, and we're safe for the time being. I'm uploading the video data now. We'll return while avoiding the guards. Roger. While waiting for the dolls to return, Yura and I go through the original footage. Yura looks thoughtful, but he doesn't say anything. Chief Yura, did you learn anything from these videos? No, but there's one thing I'm curious about. Could a normal person actually mess around with this footage? I have a hunch. It can't be true, right? No way. Yura begins muttering to himself. Hang on. I think I just saw something. I'm sorry, but could you rewind that? Bring up the scene Yura wants to see. Commander, take a look at this. Yura points at a part of the screen. Is there something moving here? I enhance the portion of the image in question. Snow is falling, and a line of mini robots are transporting supply crates at an even clip across the snowy ground. That much is obvious. Several hours later, the trail on the ground is slowly covered up by the grayish-white snow. I clip this loop and begin replaying it. These are mass-produced robots. Huh? So they were mass-produced models. No wonder they seem so familiar. Many of us scavengers have seen them before. But this one... Yura points to one of the mini-robots. One of its arms is clearly unusual compared to its fellows. Here. I remember hacking up one of these robots with an axe, and in this exact place too. Wait, seriously? What are the odds? So you've encountered it before? In the ruins. Darksteel Farm was built on the ruins of a former farm. Most people live in the rebuilt areas, but the outskirts have a lot of areas that haven't been properly reclaimed yet. From time to time, many robots like to emerge from the depths of the ruins, and that was where I encountered it last. So you go in and out of the ruins regularly, Chief Yura? Yura scratches his head. Well, it's actually like this. After we scavengers come back here, we were assigned to clear out any hidden dangers and rebuild the ruins. After all, these ruins could have been built by our ancestors, and nobody would know the farm better than us. Unfortunately, Yura shrugs and falls silent. Many robots from the depths of the ruins. So, assuming these robots' ultimate destination was the depths of the ruins, that would mean they'd have to pass through the wasteland around here, right? Yes. I see. So that's where they found the proof of our guilt outside our test plots. This is just a guess. So in order to verify it, we'll have to find them in the ruins, as well as the stolen items. I point to the crates they're carrying. I'll lead the way. Although our attempts to rebuild didn't turn out too well, we've managed to map out a couple of routes that take us deep into the ruins with minimal risk. That ought to help. In that case, we'll head out once Kihua and the others come back. Alright, I'll go get ready. The sun should be up by then. Nero looks outside the tent and my gaze follows his. The ruins sprawl before us like a beast awaiting its prey.
想定通りの勝利です。みんなのために。砕け散逃げられるとでも。後悔しても知らないよ。今だ。はいつさんに作戦終了。帰ろっか。
After Kihua and company return to the scavenger camp, Yura takes us into the ruins. A long time ago, this place was called Sunset Farm, and it was my home. I've been wanting to come back ever since I was a kid, but when I did, I found that it was completely different from what I imagined. Naturally, I knew this place had been rebuilt after being reduced to ruins, but I didn't expect its ruin to be so thorough. Yura pulls on his gloves and pulls the tangle of twisted rebar aside, clearing a narrow path for the rest of the group. When I was young, Grandpa used to tell me stories about how fertile and prosperous our home was, how the scent of fruits filled the air all year round, and painted pictures of lush wheat fields stretching out to the horizon. I always thought this place would be like a fairy tale kingdom. Of course, after I grew up, I knew that there wouldn't be a place like that in the Yellow Zone, and that Grandpa's stories were embellished for effect. Still, thinking about scenes like that was strangely calming. If only it were real. Unfortunately, the only thing here that's real is this ugly rebar that's everywhere. Kihua and Groza help them clear the rest of the obstacles from their way. It sounds like a paradise, so why did you leave? Also, how did you guys come back, Chief Hero? Why we left? I don't know. Gramps might have mentioned it, but in truth, everyone who left had their own reasons for it. Maybe it was because of the war, the sandstorm, a poor harvest one year, because they wanted to live elsewhere, or because they couldn't hold on to the farm. It's hard to isolate a single reason for it. In any case, by the time I was born, my elders and I were thousands of kilometers from the farm. You went that far? Given the state of the Yellow Zone now, returning must have been difficult too, right? Oh, yeah. We walked a long, long way. Just surviving until now was a miracle. And I led my people here. Yura puffs up his chest as he mentions that last part. After all, restoring the former glory of my hometown has been a childhood dream of mine. After I heard that people were going to rebuild the farm, I began making my way here. I met others from this place along the way, and they decided to follow me on my journey. We've been traveling for a long, long time. We only just managed to reach here last year. By that time, the farm had its management committee set up. The inspector was also very reasonable. It's not often you find such an orderly place in the Yellow Zone. Yura's reminiscence suddenly cuts off. Hmm? What happened after that? Chief Yura, it's not polite to stop telling a story halfway. And then Yura laughs. There's a gloominess in his eyes. Well, things haven't been good for everyone recently. There's a limit to how many people the local resources can support. We came late, and the guards' expeditions and merchants were all filled to capacity. Back then, there was a lot of debate over whether or not to take us in. But the inspector silenced all debate and allowed us to stay. For free? Out of the kindness of his heart? I guess the original plan was mutual benefit, I think. I became the representative of the descendants of Sunset Farm to negotiate a deal with the inspector. After all, we came from this place, and we had a lot of exclusive information about the ruins here. We had an advantage over others when it came to rebuilding the ruins or raising crops. Oh, and if you could redevelop the ruins or grow food, you'd earn a ton of contribution points, right? Yes, if we could do that. I used those talking points to argue that they should take us in on account of us being able to provide the settlement with extra resources, and the inspector accepted. Unfortunately, it turns out farming and rebuilding the ruins was harder than expected. Saying so, Yura reaches out to dust off some twigs that fell on me. Be careful. This plant grows everywhere around here, and nobody knows what the hell it is. Its branches are mildly toxic, and while small amounts aren't a problem, letting it build up over several hours is. A few of our guys ended up puking and shitting their guts out at the same time. Not a fun experience. Kifwa freezes up and then picks up one of the twigs and begins observing it. Get rid of it, Kifwa. Dolls might not get poisoned, but your commander's a different story. Yura snatches the twig away and throws it into the distance. Huh? Aw. Toxins, unknown machines, elids, expired gunpowder. The ruins have everything. We can't go further in without the right tools for it. Our attempts at raising crops failed too. The soil composition now is different from our ancestors' time, and our experience from the past can't be applied to our current situation. Looks like surviving is hard for everyone. So the scavengers are in dire straits then? Hang on the money. We're bringing in fewer and fewer contribution points, to the point where we're having trouble just obtaining enough supplies to survive. We're stuck collecting the damaged goods for emergency use, the management issues. Some of our boys even got desperate and tried doing some messed up things, which got them kicked out by the management. I tried to persuade them to hang in there a little longer, but Hiro shakes his head. So they decided to turn to banditry? Stories like that are a dime a dozen in the Yellow Zone. Yeah, you were wrongly blamed for stuff going missing because of us. Sorry about that, Kifwa. I'm sorry to burden you guys with this, but I just had to let it out. Hiro scratches his head. Well, Kiwa has been released, at least. Not the type to hold grudges, so you don't have to worry about it too much. Yep. Not like I lost my parts while doing it. It's no biggie. Hiro looks at the ground and sighs again. When he looks up, it's as though a weight has been taken off him. Sorry to interrupt you. There are unknown robots approaching. It seems we've triggered some kind of defense program. So it's time to fight? Come on then, I've been waiting for this. Ready for battle? Enemy is almost in range. Yep, we can confirm their models at this range, right? If they're the really high-end kind, well, I'm getting kind of nervous. What are you worried about? You've got me around, don't you? I've got it. No matter what kind of big lug comes, I'll dunk it in the deep fryer until it's golden brown. Warning. Enemy approaching. Oh, let me take a look. Ha! Piece of cake. Don't get careless. Prepare for battle. Alright, got it. No concern here. Rosa inspects a broken SF mini-robot. Commander, I think we can follow their navigation data back to their base. How long will that take? Their security programs are fairly primitive, so it won't take long. Just then, Wolfian sends a comm request and I accept it. Commander? Commander, Star? Were you thinking of Epley? Epley's carefully checked her image and the comfort concert's all ready to go. Epley, didn't we just get here? It would be bad to perform a live show without properly setting up the stage, no? Oh yeah, Star. Now where should I put all this equipment? Epley will do it now. Epley hops and skips and jumps out of the frame. Commander, I have good news and bad news. From the joyless cast of her mouth, I suddenly realized that all is not well. Go on. Very well. So that hurt lady just woke up. Well, that's good to hear. You don't seem too happy about it, though. That's the bad news. She seems to have lost her memory. Wolfine points the camera at the woman who's lying down. Miss, what should we call you? Who am I? Who are you? Do you remember how you got here? And what do you plan to do next? You need our help? I'm sorry, my head hurts. I don't remember anything. She looks lost and confused. Wolfine looks back and sighs. As you can see, Commander, that's how she is. What should I do about her now? Scavenger pokes his head in from the edge of the frame. Wow, we can see Chief Hero through this. Hey, Chief Hero, and that other chief. How are you doing? We heard it all just now. Looks like that lady's gonna have to stay with us for a while to recover. Don't worry though, we'll make sure she gets the best care. All visitors are friends, after all. Oh, leave that to you then. Don't worry, Commander. Just let her heal. We'll decide what to do next when she recovers her memory. Wolfine, keep an eye on her health. The rest can wait until we get back. Will do, Commander. Wolfine ends the transmission just as Groza finishes her analysis. Commander, I found their destination. If I'm not wrong, these mini-robots' origin and destination are over here. Yes, we'll head over now. This is pretty deep into the ruins. We've never been there before. What's there to be afraid of? Things will be fine since we've got the commander backing us up. Let's go, let's go. Wolfine is in the scavenger camp, looking at the wounded woman from behind. Miss, it's getting cold outside. Would you like to come back in and rest? I like to walk around here a little. It might help jog my memory. Cold wind blows across the highland every now and then, forcing Wolfine to press down on her hat to keep it in place. She follows the woman's gaze, but all she sees is empty wasteland, which makes her hold on tighter to her hat. Alright, then, I'll keep you company for a bit. Don't stay out too long, though. The wind is cold. The hurt woman doesn't reply right away, only stretches her stiff neck as she takes in her surroundings, then begins shuffling aimlessly in a random direction. Dolphine begins to wonder if this aimless wandering actually serves a purpose. Ah, that's the test plot. I think it would be best not to go in there. Test plot? She stops in front of that patch of land. But there's nothing here. It's a barren, square plot of land, out of place, rough, a waste of effort and hope. There isn't so much as a withered branch here. It seems like the only thing that grows on this plot is nothing. However, Colfine notices some things that can't be overlooked. The scavengers go out tilling the soil almost every day. They began a little earlier this morning, and I could see the next shift heading this way. There's nobody here now, so does that mean the day's work is done? Like, this is the only part where no snow is piled up. Scavengers seem to believe that the snow and its collapsed particles will contaminate the soil, so they push it outside of the plot. Wolfine looks down at the freshly turned soil, somewhat curious about it. They plant seeds here? Or will they only sow after winter has passed? Supposedly, the seeds that the scavengers used were taken from their emergency rations. I wonder if they're still alive. But even if the seeds were fine, there aren't many cases where plants were successfully grown in the yellow zone. It looks like they've gone to a lot of effort for this. I wonder if they'll succeed. All efforts are rewarded. That sort of thing is commonplace. Wolfine freezes, then turns to look at the woman. However, she just so happens to have turned aside, exposing an emotionless side profile to her. Wolfine reflexively follows the woman's gaze to the heart of the settlement. All lit up and fancy, right? It's nothing like the desolation here. That's the heart of the settlement. They've got trade fairs, residential blocks, warehouses, and so on. You could call it a stable and fully developed town. Does that jog your memory? Nobody among the scavengers recognizes you, so I'm guessing that you might be from the settlement or an outsider who came for the festive trade fair. The hurt woman merely shakes her head, a blank look on her face. I see. Oh well, there's no rush. Maybe it'll all just pop back into place after a few days of rest and relaxation. Just then, someone heads over from the ruins. Hey, Miss Amnesia? Miss Doll? Well, isn't that a coincidence? Did you girls come out for a breath of fresh air? Several of the scavengers call out to them. A few minutes later, they're in front of Colfine and the woman. Miss Doll, did Miss Amnesia remember anything? I think she might need a little more time. Scavengers murmur their agreement, and then one of them pats the injured woman on the shoulder. It seems to throw her off balance, and Colfine moves to support her. It's surprising just how much strength a gaunt little body like that can possess. In contrast, the amnesiac woman seems a little more well-fed. Colfine sighs internally. It's okay, miss. Just focus on getting better. Once you're strong enough, we'll take you around to look up the guards. That said, those dogs of the management have their noses in the air. They don't give a crap about us, so you'll probably have to explain your circumstances to them on your own. Thank you. It's nothing. If you really can't find your people, then you can just hang with us. Plowing the land and searching for parts is still enough to make a living. Who knows? Maybe you'll remember someday, as long as you don't starve to death. Maybe we'll grow a pumpkin that's taller than a man, too. You guys have a really positive outlook. You're right. Things might not look so good right now, but if you hang in there, things will probably get better. Yep. Made it through this year, after all. Oh, I heard Expedition Leader Garen came back. Although we probably won't be allocated any of the good stuff, We could probably beg or borrow some of it, right? Plus, the trade fair is almost here. The spring is coming, and we'll be able to collect our annual supplies. Who knows? We might be able to grow something by next year. That's an improvement, right? Truth is, most of us followed Chief Yura because our families were gone. The idea of finding people from our hometown and living with them is way better than dying alone out there. When the days are this cold, we'll go for any way of keeping warm, even if it's just by huddling up with others. The wounded woman is a bit of a loss for how to respond and merely grunts. Alright. That's enough chatting for now. The little walk is almost over. Miss, you ought to head back and get some rest. Golfine bids the scavengers goodbye and helps the wounded woman back to her sickbed. However, the woman turns and heads elsewhere as they approach the medical tent. Miss, our tent is this way. The wind isn't as strong here. I'd like to spend a bit more time outside. The wounded woman slowly walks between the tents. The red ribbons, which serve as festive decorations, flutter in the wind. When they block her vision, she reaches out to sweep them aside. Wait for me. Even through several layers of tent fabric, the scavenger's voices carries clearly through the air. This tastes awful. Are we really supposed to celebrate the festival by eating this? What do you think? You know as well as I do how this year turned out. We might not even get potatoes if we were outside. Just eat it, man. What if we tried turning it into mashed potatoes? Maybe with a little bit of dirt to bulk it up, or we could add some potato to the dirt for flavor? Come on. We can't possibly eat dirt, right? Leaving aside whether or not it's actually edible, we ought to save clean dirt for farming crops. How about adding some water? Would water work? I mean, in clean water? Didn't Chief Yura say to save some water for the sowing season in spring? If you think it's too dry, you can always try some of that meltwater outside. Now with added collapse particles. Yeah, right. As if you could eat that crap. Ugh. Maybe we could tell Chief Yura that we won't be celebrating this time around. I mean, we don't even know how next year's gonna be, so we should save up some rations. Hell no. Well, the year went poorly, it can't be helped. We all worked hard this past year, to the bone even. That's why we need this reunion dinner to wrap things up properly. Being able to eat well is a good omen for the coming year. And besides, even if potatoes taste like crap, being able to fill your belly is still a good thing, right? At least you'll have the strength to work. Okay. Oh yeah, have you taken a look around the fair? They say Leader Garen's back, and he had quite a haul. There's just about everything in there. Lots of underground brokers came as well, with canned food, fish, meat, and so on. Wish I could try some of that while I'm still alive. Won't be retarded, yeah? You break the law, they'll dry you out, and then you'll really starve to death. Meh. I'll just place my faith in these potatoes. Say, you think we can make it taste like fish? The wounded woman's strength fails her. She stumbles and collapses against one of the tent poles. Wah! Who knocked my tent? The scavenger draws the flap aside. Miss Amnesia? Hey, you okay? We were just making some dirt-tato salad. Oh wait, we nixed the dirt. Want to try some? Sorry for bumping into your tent. Oh, don't worry about it, miss. Have some. It's better than going hungry, right? We don't have much in the way of fancy cuisine here, but we can still fill our bellies. We'll be able to get some supplies once the festive trade fair begins. Yeah, we still have the fair. I've been looking forward to it for half a year now. Management's never failed to deliver on that side. Maybe we'll get something other than potatoes this year. Why not come in, miss? No, it's alright. I was just passing by. I'm not hungry. She waves to them, forcing a smile to her face. Her smile soon fades, replaced by confusion and mixed feelings. We follow Gross's analysis of the mini-robot's route and head deeper into the ruins. Wolfine sends through another comms request. Commander, Vepley. Wolfine shoves Vepley aside and forces herself into the frame, speaking much faster than normal. Commander, that wounded lady vanished. Everyone in the camp searched all the tents, but we couldn't find any trace of her. She might have entered the ruins, because we can't find her anywhere else. What should we do, Commander? When was the last time you saw her? About half an hour ago. We came back from walking outside, but just as I was getting ready to change our bandages, I came back and found she wasn't in her bed. Epley's been practicing for the show in the commander's tent. Epley didn't see the missing audience member. Wolfine briefly describes the events that took place. Doesn't seem like anything's wrong. The camp's far away from everything else, and she's hurt. She couldn't have gone too far. Did she have regained her memories and suddenly remembered she had something to do? No idea about what might have happened. The dolls fall silent. Let's leave her be for now. Whether she stays or goes won't affect us, and we saved her simply because we had the luxury of doing so. She's free to leave if she wants. You and Vepley can keep searching for her if you want. If you find her collapsed somewhere, help her out. If you can't find her, then you don't need to spend too much time and effort on it. Understood, Commander. I'll look for her one last time. The transmission ends. I hope she's alright. Everyone, we're almost at our destination. Hostile robots might show up, so please stay alert. It's in the building up ahead, right? Main door looks closed. I'll go bash it open right now. Eh? We're going for a frontal assault? Yuhua, wait. Yuhua quickly halts in her tracks. We don't know what's happening inside that building. We should probably circle around the back and try to observe the insides before deciding on what to do. Oh, that makes sense. Sorry, I was being hasty. Let's go from the left then. Yuhua runs on ahead. Well, these are ruins for you. There's tons of rot and rust overhead. Whoops. Mind your feet. The ground's crumbling. Thanks for the reminder. I think you were the only one who stepped on the crumbly bits. That's so? Clumsy me then. No making fun of me for it, though. Ladies, please keep quiet. There might be robots in there listening to the situation on the outside. The air falls silent. I think I can see what's inside from here. Hero finds the hole in the wall and crouches down to look inside. A moment later, the hero pulls away from the hole. He seems shaken by what he's seen. He looks at me and freezes up for a moment, his mouth opening and closing like a goldfish before he finally manages to regain the ability to speak. Beside him, Kihua eagerly takes his place. It's the right place. It's full of... Whoa! Commander, there are mini-robots everywhere in there. Row after row after row, with all kinds of resource crates around them. You gotta see this, Commander. Kihua took the words out of my mouth. Kihua pulls me over to the hole. Kihua, take a few pictures of those mini-robots and see if you can find out anything new about them. Rosa and Sabrina, help her out. The dolls begin working. Those mini-robots look just like any other robot you'd see in the Yellow Zone. Nothing unusual about them. Commander, given the weathering on their outer shells, it's likely that not all of them are from the same batch. They seem to have been manufactured in different series and gathered here. I see. Commander, can I prevail on you and your dolls to take out those robots? We scavengers didn't steal those items, and if we can return the stolen goods, we might be able to change their bad opinion of us. At the very least, we won't be blamed for the most recent spat of thieves. Yeah, thefts. Not thieves. Also, these robots attack us when we're out in the wasteland. Lots of our guys have fought them before, and rebuilding the ruins would be easier without them around. I mean, we're already here, Commander. Why don't we throw hands with them? That was my plan from the beginning. When you attack, try and leave a few intact. It'll make tracing them or turning them in easier. Got it. I knew you'd say yes. Now then, shall we get to it then? Careful. You might have a functional alert. The thud, Kifua lands among the mini-robots and yells to her friends. Ah? Oh crap, I triggered the defense programs. Help me out, guys. Crap. These diner gates and Goliaths are all moving. I can see that. Kifua, you should inform your teammates before you start a fight. Sorry, I haven't had teammates in a while. It won't happen again. The dolls rush to join the battle. Oh, you. You so silly. That makes sense. After a brief skirmish, all the enemy robots are dealt with. Whew, it's over. So the neon that was responsible for stealing all the supplies was actually this pack of mini-robots. Commander, Chief Yura, let's go over our spoils. I mean the stolen goods. Okay, coming. Yura and I enter the building and look at the supply crates of various sizes that cover the ground. Many of them are plastered with labels reading Festive Fair and fancy lettering. It seems they're part of the trade fair decorations. Let's start by consolidating everything. Battle just now has made it an even bigger mess of the supply crates compared to before. The dolls begin working at my command. Chief Yura, once we send the stuff back, people won't suspect the scavengers as much, right? Yeah. We'll finish doing an inventory of the items, and then I'll hand them and these robots over to the inspector. The scavengers can't operate these robots, and if the management takes a good look at these robots' authorizations and data logs, they ought to be able to find something that benefits us. However, Yura doesn't seem to be cheered up by this new development. Thing is, until the truth is made public, the fact that these items were found in our turf won't necessarily clear our names in the eyes of people who don't know the truth. On the contrary, it might actually make things worse. I need to think about the best way to hand these things over, and I think it's better to keep quiet about this until we fully analyze the pros and cons of doing so. Can't you contact the inspector in private? Maybe try to send it back under the cover of night? The settlement has a night curfew, so things are pretty quiet then. I was thinking that too. We'll contact the inspector now. Yura's call was rejected twice before it finally goes through. The man that Yura calls the inspector has a stern look on his face, as though he was born scowling. Yura, did you schedule this call? Sorry about this, Inspector, but we made a surprising discovery. Yura points to the pile of lost items behind him. The inspector raises an eyebrow, and for the first time, he looks directly at Yura and me as I stand beside him. Where did you find them? Did you catalog them? What exactly is in there? We found them in the depths of the ruins. We're on the scene right now. I'll send you the coordinates. We've also counted and sorted them. I'll send you a list as well. The inspector goes through the information Yura sent. Is that all? Is there nothing else? What else should there be? It's not like we've got a list of stolen items to check against, right? There's something I've been meaning to say back then in that interrogation room. There's something weird about you guys. If you have something to say, then just say it. The inspector seems completely unbothered by Kikua's displeasure. Never mind. You've done well in finding the lost items. However, I have a question. These coordinates are in the depths of the ruins. When did the scavengers go so far inside? I don't recall seeing any reports about it. The question is addressed to Yura, but he is looking directly at me. We've never been here before. There are mini robots everywhere, and they attack in self-defense whenever anyone gets close. It's not like we can handle them with the weapons we have. It was all thanks to Kikwa and her commander. Yura steps away from the center of the frame so Kikwa and I are fully visible. Kikwa merely shakes a fist and grits her teeth. So you're that Inspector Gadget or something? I remember your voice. You were questioning me in there. You were on the other side of that one-way mirror, weren't you? The inspector nods to me and ignores Kikwa. Perhaps I'm imagining things, but he seems a bit too focused on sizing me up. Inspector, I called you in the hopes of arranging a way to secretly transport these items. After all, they were found in the ruins. It's not often that the scavengers get to contribute to the community, so we'd rather not have it cause suspicion and dissent instead. That is understandable. I'll have my assistant arrange the details with you. Something seems fishy around here. And with that, the inspector ends the call. Huh. I just got an invitation to a meeting from his adjutant. Looks like I'll have work to do today. That's good, right? No matter how you slice it, since the scavengers are bringing the lost items in, they can't just turn it around on you and make you the villains of the story, right? Oh, I'm sure they can find a way. Who knows? We're not the leader Garen and his expedition corps. Everyone loves them. Still, since we can't change everyone's view of us overnight, all we can do is the best we can within our abilities. The inspector seemed to be in a better mood after seeing those items. He probably won't hassle the scavengers for a while now. Ihua, everyone, thank you very much. Did his face change? It did, right? Usually he frowns even more than that. Chief Yura seems to have thought of something and he hugs himself while shuddering. Never mind, it's in the past. No point thinking about it. Commander, Chief Yura. Commander, Chief Yura, we will be going back to the camp to resupply. If we're only going to move the stolen goods after the sun goes down, we might have to wait for a while. I want to watch over the goods myself. After all, we went to a lot of effort to find it. We can't let this roast chicken fly the coop. Commander, could you lead the dolls back and give them a rest? I've logged the route we took here. I'll have my stronger friends come by later to prepare to move the items tonight. Will it be okay? I think you mentioned that this was your first time coming this deep. Well, you cleared the route, and we'll be coming in force. I think we can handle it. Noticing our hesitation, Yura lightheartedly reassures us. We'll be fine. My boys and I have been exploring these ruins for almost a year now. We have grown a lot through their experiences. If there's anything we can't beat, we'll run. Fair enough. We'll be heading back then. Oh, right. Commander, will you be staying for the festive trade fair? Once it starts, we'll probably be able to collect some supplies. When the time comes, feel free to come by our camp and we'll celebrate. While our points are kind of dismal, we should have enough for a decent dinner with our saviors, I think. Oh, speaking of meals, I actually found something interesting just now, but I don't have the time to explain in detail. Once we're done here, I'll tell you all about it at the camp. If it all goes well, we'll be able to eat more lavishly next year, even if it isn't this year. That would be great. The way back is long, and we can still see Yura waving to us in the distance. Commander, I actually received the text message just now. Looks weird, like some kind of prank. However, the timing was impeccable, so it might actually be legit. Eva holds her communicator up in front of me. Sender is unknown. The commander of the Elmo. I have an urgent commission for you that pays well. Price is negotiable. I would like to tell you about it in person. Farm Inspector. There are a bunch of coordinates behind it, which just so happen to be inside Darksteel Farm. When did you receive this information? Right after Chief Euro spoke to the inspector. Rosa, can you pinpoint the location of the supplied coordinates? While it's within the farm, some distance from the other locations we passed through previously. Now comparing with the map data of the fair and settlement, I found it, Commander. It's the farm's administration center. Huh. Could it really be from the inspector? Are you interested in the message's contents? He did say it would pay well. I give Groza a meaningful look, urging her to think of the Elmo's bills, and Groza indicates that she understands. Commander, I believe we should learn more about the nature of this commission. It's decided then. Once we've rearmed and rested, we'll head over. Do we need to make an appointment or something? Chief Euro got grilled just now because he didn't make arrangements. To think of it, how do we even make appointments? Do we have permission to do that? The message didn't mention any particular timing, and it said it was an urgent commission, so maybe we can skip the appointment. Huh. Is that what that means? No point thinking any more about it. We'll know once we get there.
作戦終了。帰ろっか。みんなのために。砕け散る。逃げられるとでも。ごめんね。後悔しても知らないよ。素揚げどっちがよか戦勝祝いに何番
I love that. There are many guards near the administration center, and we are approached before we can even reach the sign posted at main door. He's frowning too, just like that stern inspector. Are you the Elmo's commander? I'm Inspector Leo's assistant. Please follow me. He produces a metal name tag with his name on it from his pocket, and after briefly checking our identities, he gestures to us to follow him. Two squads of guards coincidentally happen to arrive and begin a shift change. As the rows of men interlock and shift, the adjutant heads toward the main door, but instead go around it, heading toward the rear of the admin center. I signal to the dolls to slow down. Kifo leans in close and whispers into my ear. Is there a need to be so sneaky about this? Isn't the inspector the big boss of the settlement? You think they're going to try and arrest and interrogate us? We'll just have to ask them. I look behind us. The shift change is proceeding apace, the guards reporting to each other in the usual fashion. It serves to completely screen off the route we're taking around the admin center. Excuse me, but are we going in through the front door? The inspector would prefer that this discussion be conducted in secret, so we seek your understanding. Our choice of location is not very conventional. Huh? Listen up, pal. Conventional or not, it better not be that damn interrogation room again. No way in hell I'll let the commander go in there. You have no idea, Commander. You can't get out once you go in. It's like the Black Dolphin prison. Please be at ease. You're not under suspicion, and the venue in question is simply a room that has not been used in a long time. We won't draw attention there. The dolls look at me, waiting for my answer. The adjutant glances to the side at the guards behind us. They won't be able to buy us much time. Commander, the inspector does not want to force your involvement, but I shouldn't be saying this, but as an individual, I hope you'll bring some change, some way to improve things. The adjutant does his best to show his sincerity. Does your inspector keep his promises? I distinctly recall him mentioning it pays well. The adjutant freezes for a moment, and then he responds. I'm sure you'll be satisfied with the payment. Please follow me. The adjutant pushes the door open and gestures for us to enter, while he stands watch outside. There's someone waiting inside the room. Commander of the Elmo, your reputation precedes you. I'm glad we can meet at last. Your performance during the settlement theft case has left a deep impression on me. I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm sure you will not be disappointed by the payment for this commission. He stands up and looks me over. There is no sign of anything resembling joy in his stern expression. Beside me, Kifwa clenches her fists. I cover her hand, then hand her off to Sabrina, so the latter can try to calm her down. Hello, Inspector Leo. It seems one of my dolls was in your care previously. Allow me to thank you for your hospitality. The inspector goes silent for a moment. We regret mistaking your doll for a thief, and all suspicion on her has been cleared. If our interrogators gave any offense, I would like to apologize on their behalf. Kifwa, they've apologized already. Don't be mad, okay? I'm not mad. I was framed. I've been running around in the ozone for years, and this is the first time anyone's treated me like a thief. Also, the inspector seems to have a commission for the commander. It's going to make things difficult for her if you stay mad at the inspector, don't you think? Rena patiently quells Kifwa's wrath, which allows her to cool down and think. That kind of makes sense, too. Kifwa glares at the inspector one last time and takes a deep breath. Fine, then. For the sake of the commander and this payment, I hope we'll all get along. Sabrina breathes a sigh of relief as she mutters to herself. I think it was Kifwa. At least she's easy to persuade. She's always been the accepting and optimistic type. I mutter my own reply to Sabrina. Maybe that's why she makes friends everywhere she goes. I just want the misunderstanding to be cleared up, so it does not impede our joint operations going forward. Have a seat, Commander. The inspector pulls up a chair and we both sit down. Before we officially begin, there's one thing I'd like to verify, for safety's sake. I understand your capabilities to a certain extent, and since I have decided to entrust you with this matter, I will also be placing great trust in you. To facilitate future endeavors, I will be sharing some information with you that should not leave this room, and I ask you to keep it secret from me whether or not we end up working together. Don't worry, we of the Elmo know how things work around here. I'll get to it then. The farm lost more than just those items you found. We also lost collapsed pieces, enough to feed hundreds of people for 6 months. Once he finishes, the room is so silent you could hear a pin drop. Wait, how many? Holy crap, this is one hell of a job. If you're talking about enough to feed hundreds of people for half a year, you need half a dozen dump trucks to carry them all, right? We were planning to use those collapsed pieces to purchase the basic living supplies that we would be distributing to the residents on the first day of the festive trade fair. We have chosen to delay the opening ceremony, but that is not a permanent solution. Let me put it this way. Even if we distributed all the remaining supplies in our warehouse, we won't be able to support the settlement for half a year. In addition, we cannot help delaying the opening ceremony forever. I'm gonna keep playing. And my throat is being a bugger right now. I want to hire you to find the lost collapse pieces ASAP. As for the payment, the inspector sounds tired and dejected, as though all of this has drained him of his emotions. He sends me a contract, which contains a respectable figure. Considering the sheer quantity of the collapse pieces that went missing, don't you think calling it a simple case of lost and found is kind of insulting to the residents' intelligence? Of course, it would be strange to say they vanished all at once. That is why I'm handling this in secret investigation to you. The collapsed pieces are normally stored in the most heavily guarded part of the warehouse. Not many people can repeatedly access that area. So you suspect someone inside the settlement was involved? If a full transport chain was involved, maybe it was a group effort. Right now, I have no idea who I can trust, so I might as well draw on an outside force to help. Thanks to this doll, I had the perfect excuse to publicly mobilize our resources to investigate the Elmo. At the very least, I am now certain that you are an uninvolved third party, at least for the moment. Everything is clear to me now for the most part, but I have one question. I point to the payment on the contract. If the amount of collapse pieces we find does not match the initial estimate, then even if we do this task for you, there's no guarantee the farm's management committee will be able to pay the full amount, or even pay at all. Am I correct to assume this? The inspector is silent for much longer than before. Finally, he nods. To be frank, the sum promised here is the maximum amount I can muster up, even if everything does according to plan. The recovered collapse pieces are needed for the celebratory distributions. Only after those are given out can the remainder be used for payment. If you accept payment in installments, then as long as the farm survives, we will be able to pay off the promised amount in 3 years. I am somewhat surprised by this. Isn't 3 years a little long for this? From what we saw in the daytime, the festive trade fair had a wealth of goods on display. Surely the farm's finances aren't that bad, are they? Part of the merchandise on display at the festive trade fair is brought by the brokers themselves. The rest of it is collected by the expedition team. Also, our trade with the brokers depends on what the expedition teams bring back. Right now, the nearby ruins have essentially been cleared out, so the expedition team can only go further afield. We need to take into account the impact of such factors on our work efficiency. I see. You've been very forthcoming with us, so allow me to consider your offer. I'll study the numbers on the contract, and think about the Elmo's financial situation and how we have very few options left. Our expenses have increased as the number of dolls joining us has gone up. Even 50% of the offered price would allow us to cover the Elmo's operating costs. Very well, I accept. I reach out and shake the inspector's hand, then quickly finish signing the contract. Now, we can finally get down to business. Do you have any suspects in mind? Yes. The lead suspect is our accountant cum warehouse manager. Her name is Delia. We found some irregularities during our previous routine investigation, but she had gone missing by then. The management went through all our surveillance footage, but didn't find any trace of her. Let me guess, it's the fucking amnesia chick. I didn't know accounting was so dangerous. When did she vanish? That was 3 days ago. This is her personnel file, including her picture. The inspector brings up the suspect's photograph. Sabrina exclaims in surprise, and even Groza has a stunned look on her face. Yeah, that's the amnesia chick. Commander, that's the lady we found. You've seen her? When? Where is she now? If she's the one you're looking for, things might be a little tricky. It's true that we saw her, but she ran off. According to the transmission from Colfin, she had already left the scavengers camp before we found the missing trade goods. Rosa quickly explains the situation. Have you been checking your camera footage over the past couple of days? No. The trade fair is about to begin, and our guards have been stretched thin. Also, we performed a comprehensive search before and concluded that she'd already left the farm's territory. Actually, some people subscribe to the theory that the most dangerous place is the safest place. We might still have a chance. Since she already turned up in the scavenger's camp, and we know the time frame when she left, we could try looking through the logs for the cameras nearest to the camp. That might narrow it down. And let's go to the archives. Sometime later. I see. It all makes sense now. After she left the scavenger's camp, she entered the civilian home and left with the trolley and supply crates, heading for the fair. She's disguised as one of the traders. Lupa plays the video clips of all those events in sequence, forming a complete narrative. Our eyes meet, and we decide to take action immediately. There are more people in the trade fair today than before. Everyone is smiling brightly, their faces full of hope and anticipation, utterly clueless about the disaster looming on the horizon. I glance to my side, at the inspector whose face is mixed in a grim scowl, and reflect on how ignorance truly is bliss. Ihua in position. I'm ready too. The disguised Dahlia has already come into range of the dolls. It is time to close the net. Commander, we're in range. Ready to capture the target any time. Go. On my command, Kuipa and Groza rush forward, each seizing one of the target's arms, and Sabrina steps up in front of her. Shh, don't panic. We're just here to... Delia quickly looks between the dolls and me, but her eyes light up the moment she sees Inspector, like a limp marionette suddenly imbued with the spark of life. All of us disguised ourselves before coming here, but she somehow managed to hone in onto the Inspector with perfect accuracy. How she did it is a mystery. Your customers, your order is ready. Please follow me to collect it. Huh? Wait, what order? Did we place an order? Delia lowers her voice. I won't run. Please let go of me so people don't notice. The Inspector needs to know the truth. I can't let myself die before that. Delia looks at the Inspector. Tifa and Groza look at me, awaiting my order. Why are you so afraid of me? I'm just a hurt civilian, not even armed. Let's go. You came here looking for me, right? I signaled to Tifa and Groza to let her go. Please follow me to the temporary cargo holding area, dear customers. Delia leads us away. She's trying to move quickly, but her injuries mean she isn't actually moving all that fast, which only adds to the tension. We come to a halt deep within the storage area, which is largely deserted. At first, my plan was to continue pretending to have lost my memory and stay in the scavenger's camp before leaving the settlement. The further I got from this place, the better. But in the end, I couldn't do it. Delia looked toward the scavenger's camp and sighed. She takes the booklet out of her pockets. There are dark red stains on it. This is the real accounting ledger for the warehouse. You'll need it. The late former warehouse manager hid it very well. Damn him. It took me a lot of effort to find it, and I doubt you're interested in hearing the details right now. Delia looks at the Inspector. We still have no idea what that implies. For the past few years, he would go out in person and inspect the progress of the preparations for the trade fair. That was why I chose to pose as a merchant at the fair in order to increase my chances of meeting you. I needed to personally ensure this book reached your hands. Inspector, I have someone I would like to report. That would be Expedition Leader Garen. For many years, he has falsified the amount of supplies gathered and falsely claimed contribution points for the expedition team. In addition, he has stolen large amounts of collapse pieces. They took them in roughly 20 batches since the start of last month. The evidence is included in that ledger. A cold wind blows. For a while, everyone is silent. Is it a tradition of the settlement to drop bombshell news with completely straight faces? Contorting your faces for emotional expression consumes energy, which is a luxury I do not have right now. Delia wobbles as another gust of wind blows, and Sabrina worriedly moves up to support her. You need medical attention, Signorina. Delia waves her off, her eyes still fixed on the Inspector. Previous warehouse manager was in on it, but it seems he had a disagreement with Garen on the matter of the collapse pieces, so he lost his life. The moment I took over, I noticed something wrong with the accounts and was nearly silenced as a result. My would-be killers thought I was dead and threw me into a disused storm drain. If these dolls hadn't been there, nobody would have found my corpse. Who do you think sent those killers? And what weapons do you think they used? The inspector does not reply. Rosa and Sabrina quietly look away. It's a little embarrassing to be called out for illegal immigration right in front of the region's supreme authority. I fled here because of disaster. I know just how bad life in the Yellow Zone can be. It took a long time and a lot of hard work for the settlement to get to how it is today, and it's thanks to everyone's efforts that it's still going. I've decided I'm done fleeing. It's too tiring for me. You take care of this, Inspector? Right now, the only person who can stand up to Leader Garen, the only one we can count on, is you. It is at this point that the Inspector breaks his silence. You ought to know that just this one piece of evidence isn't enough. The former warehouse manager's body has already been disposed of. That particular dead man will not be telling any tales. But we have a duty to the residents. Everyone has worked hard all year and handed their excess wealth and resources to the management to handle. Hardly anyone has any reserves. Now that the celebration is at hand, we both know that people are going to start panicking if the supplies aren't handed out, and it will soon erupt into unrest and chaos like the outside. This is more than a simple case of theft, so I urge you to treat this matter with the utmost seriousness. I understand the gravity of what you have said, and I will thoroughly investigate this matter. Until then, the guards will arrange for you to be housed in a safe location and receive round-the-clock protection. In jail? I have considered that option. The inspector ignores Kifa's groans and looks Delia in the eye. I keep wanting to say Delilah. The farm does not have any dedicated witness protection areas, so in lieu of that, a prison cell would be a more secure location, as it is staffed by reliable personnel and its layout is already well known. Currently, it is the best option for protecting a sensitive witness. I will do my best to furnish you with a comfortable environment and medical care in your cell. You will only be detained for a short period of time in order to ensure your safety. You don't have to explain further. I trust you to do the right thing. Inspector, I've already celebrated many celebrations here, and the management, you've never once missed a single one, which is why everyone has come to trust you. Delia thinks, and she fixes the inspector with a stern look. I believe you understand the significance of the celebration in everyone's eyes. It's more than just a day to collect living supplies. It's a symbol of hope in the future. It shows that the path of unity, cooperation, and coexistence that we chose to cling to is a meaningful one. So please, may the celebration be a happy one. I will do my utmost. The inspector's adjutant and his men escort Delia away and out of sight. Sabrina notes that the inspector's hands are balled up into fists. She nervously moves closer to me before whispering into my ear. Is he going to be alright? Seems a little, Isn't it a good thing that we have an idea where to find the missing collapse pieces? I remember the vendors talking about the inspector and the expedition leader's shared past. They were battle buddies once. It's good for the case, but for him as a person, well, human emotions are a complex thing. We return to the admin center with the inspector. There is a gloomy mood in the air. I must refill my water bottle. So I will be right back. Inspector looks down at Delia's notes as he flips through them. In addition to the accounting data, Delia has tried to provide as much additional information as she could. What do you think of the information provided by the witness? Even if the witness's testimony can be corroborated, charges are being levied against a core figure of the farm. I believe having more proof would be helpful to the case. There are cameras throughout the farm. There's no way for the opposition to hide if they make a move, so verifying it won't be difficult. The question now is how far you're willing to go to gather this proof. The inspector remains silent in his seat, as if he's morphed into a statue. He seems ill at ease while sitting in the chair, as if the temporary meeting room suddenly seems very cramped. Let's verify the evidence. The area surrounding the location where the witness was attacked was covered by a camera. Its footage should be in the appropriate security kiosk. I'll have my people give you today's cipher key. Commander, I hope you will verify the truth of this attack, and I also need to know the identity of the person who attacked her. Take whatever screenshots you need and send them to my adjutant. He'll corroborate it against the database of residents. This commission is still secret, so I hope you will maintain a low profile. A secret? Are you worried about something, Inspector? The inspector looks up. There's a sharp glint in his eyes. It's just in case. Neither the management nor the guards can be fully trusted. My adjutant is beyond suspicion. He is reliable. I'm sure of that. Understood. All the best to the both of us. I lead the dolls to the security kiosk in question. Damn it, someone's messed with this camera too. Wait, 2? Why did I say 2? That's because the tampering here is almost exactly like what was done during the mini-robot theft incident. Don't tell me the same person was behind both cases? It's hard to say. We don't have enough evidence. Let's just start by restoring the original footage. We just need to connect to level 2 like last time, right? Shouldn't be a problem. The data restoration is complete. In the restored footage, we can see Delia falling over after being shot. The killer approaches and drags her to a nearby storm drain. Looks like we're in luck. Got several shots of the killer's face. I'll send these images to the adjutant. While you're at it, ask the inspector about how to proceed next. Should we head back to the admin center and meet up with him? We find a secluded corner and take a quick rest. Shortly afterwards, the communications alert beeps. It's from the inspector. Put it through. Rosa quickly explains what we've discovered. Yes, my adjutant just told me that there was a match in the resident database. A man is a high-ranking member of the expedition team. Alright, the expedition team, you say? Let's go catch their leader now. What was his name again? I think he's called Garen. If it really was an inside job, then a lot of doubts from before can be answered. The spate of thefts from the residential areas and trade fair would force the guards to focus on them, which probably means the warehouse wouldn't be as closely guarded as before, right? The people who would know this best would obviously be core members of the management. Yes, that's right. And then there's that story about the neon causing trouble. That one came from a member of the expedition team too, right? Someone's uncle's nephew's father's roommate or something. All this makes the expedition team more suspicious, but it doesn't directly implicate Garen. Hey, are you still holding on to a past friendship or something? Everyone's collapse pieces are missing here. Aren't they all going to starve if you drag your feet? Ehua, I'm sure the inspector knows this. He just needs some time. Stop Kifwa from pressing further. He has done a lot for the settlement, and the people trust him as much as they do me. I need to proceed carefully when it comes to him. But the festive trade fair's opening ceremony is coming, and you've already delayed it once. Yes, the traders with our supplies arrived at the farm last week. If we leave them be and fail to close the trade with them, they'll cancel it and leave. These brokers are not in the habit of hanging around and wasting time. Well, I have to say that you guys have your principles. A lot of settlements would choose to just rob the brokers outright. I've seen plenty of that in the Yellow Zone. Trade requires stability and trust. Those settlements you were talking about probably don't last long. Also, we have too many non-combatants here, and we can't afford to have a firefight at the checkpoint. That's also a major factor in all of this. The inspector rubs his temples. Can't you, give out a little less? I would rather avoid such a course of action unless I absolutely have no choice. The management does not rely entirely on the guards to maintain order. The residents obey our regulations because they have faith in us, and a major part of that is not stealing from each other. The residents' obedience is directly predicated on the management's willingness to keep their word. It's a virtuous cycle. Once trust in the management is gone, nobody will buy into the social contract anymore. That way lies chaos. You saw the expedition team before, and there's one thing I'm curious about. Are most of the settlement's weapons concentrated in the expedition team? They are the only group that needs to leave the settlement to work, and they shoulder the greatest risk. Naturally, we gave them our best gear, including over 70% of our personal protective gear, weapons, and ammunition to be distributed as they see fit. If the situation truly calls for it, we may need to disperse the residents. I understand your concerns. The truth is, I have an idea, but it's a risky one. Come over to the admin center. We can talk there. The transmission ends.
想定通りの勝利です。みんなのために。
後悔しても知らないよ。
作戦終了。帰ろっか。
2 days later, early in the morning, a broker convoy loaded with supplies leaves the settlement. Perhaps it's out of pity, or perhaps it's to repay the inspector's honest dealings with them, but they make their exit without fanfare. Leo, how can you even sit on your ass at a time like this? The door to the inspector's office flies open. They really left. What should we do about our supplies now? This man from the expedition team projects an air of strength and danger, like a veteran Variager captain or the leader of a band of bounty hunters. The supply problem has been taken care of, Mr. Garen. I nod to Garen. It is only then he realizes my presence. And who is this? A guest of yours? The expedition leader looks at the inspector. This is the commander of the Elmo, our new partner. We're partnered with the broker, Aminda, whom I introduced to the inspector. She can accept a short-term deferral on payment with my guarantee. You sounded desperate, so she's on her way now. Once again, I thank you for your help in this hour of need. All the residents will remember your kindness. This development seems to have taken Garen by surprise, because he pauses before speaking. Oh, so it's been settled, huh? Alright then. Miss Aminda doesn't know the region well, so we were planning to send a team out to receive her. It's no problem. Aaron thinks for a moment, and then he adds something else. Your guards don't leave the settlement often, so you probably don't know the way. Let me handle the meeting. I'll bring my boys along. I can rest assured with you handling things. The festive trade fair is almost here. We cannot have any slip-ups. Looks like we'll be meeting Amida together, Leader Garen. I'll get my guys ready. In a blink of an eye, it's time to head out. The commander, was it? Let's go. You lead the way. Hang on. The inspector isn't here yet. What the hell do you need him for? You're an outsider, so you probably don't know, but all he does is send the expedition team off every now and then. He's too busy to come each time. Let's go. Don't bother waiting for him. Sabrina looks surprised. Huh? Didn't you know, Leader Garen? The inspector's coming with us to meet Aminda. Say what? I hear the sound of footsteps behind us. It's the inspector. Sorry to keep you waiting. We can go now. Leo? The hell? You finished all your business? The fair's about to begin, you know. Aren't you supposed to stay home and make sure everything is running fine? The hell are you doing out here? This shipment is of vital importance. If anything goes wrong with it, nothing else will matter. So, if anything comes up, having me around will make things go more smoothly. Ha! It's been years since you've been outside of town. Don't you think you're getting a little too old for this? Just settle down. We don't need sudden stunts from you at a critical moment like this. If you want to go out on a ride, I'll bring you with me on our next expedition. You can save it. I've already made up my mind. Seriously? It's time to head out. Since you clearly value that shipment very highly, it's best you make a decision soon. Let's go. Aaron clearly hasn't given up on dissuading Leo, but the inspector ignores him and looks at me. Mount up, everyone. Follow us. The jeeps race over the wilderness, stabbing into a horde of elids like a lance. Fuck! What kind of shitty road is this? Aaron's voice is even louder with the wind blowing right in his face. Familiar outdoors seem to have caused him to shed some of his restraint. Time is tight, and the terrain here is comparatively flat, so going straight would be quicker. As for the occasional obstacle, an elid blocking our path collapses as the gunshot rings out. The inspector's action supplies the answer. Whoa, nice shot, Inspector. Meh. I haven't been in a firefight for too long, so I've gotten rusty, compared to back then. Inspector laughs in a self-deprecating way, and his mouth curves up into a smile. Back then? I heard the vendors at the fair say Inspector Leo and Leader Garen used to be pals in the bounty hunter crew back in the day. Yup, sure were. This guy used to be a real William Tell. He'd knocked him down as fast as he popped up. That shot just now was too slow, nothing like how he was at his peak. Most bounty hunters tend to stay on the move. Once they finish sweeping an area, they move on to the next, and their routes are largely decided by their commissions. So why did you guys decide to quit the business and settle down? It seems to be ancient history for them. Aaron thinks for a long time before finally giving an answer. We messed up one too many times. Lots of our guys got hurt bad or kicked the bucket. In the end, our crew broke up. You know how life is in the Yellow Zone. This sort of thing happens all the time. All you need is to fill your belly. Take me, for example. As long as you've got the skills to pay the bills, you can eat well no matter where you go. Rosa drives the Jeep over a sandy curve, and all conversation stops for a bit. We end up swaying back and forth for some time before we can finally settle down. Our crew was never really that united to begin with, and we had discussions before doing anything. Anyone who agreed would join us on a commission, and anyone who didn't wouldn't take part. While we lived and ate together, we didn't have much in the way of a common consensus or close ties. Aaron, remember that blonde-haired midget from back in the day? I think so. What happened to him? Don't remember anything about him. Don't think he rebuilt the farm with us. Well, he loved picking up first aid kits and would always go straight for them. Whenever our guys got hurt, they'd have to buy medical supplies off of him, and if he couldn't pay, he'd just watch as you died in front of him. Ah, yeah, I remember now. You were always a busybody. I can't remember how many times you lent money to the people begging him for meds. In the end, everyone you lent money to died, and you didn't get a single credit back. Ha ha. Lending money in the yellow zone is risky. You need to invest wisely. That said, you're a good man for doing what you did, Inspector. Hats off to you. Well, that blonde midget died later on, and nobody ever found that medical chest he always carried with him. Well, no shit. Hell, it might not even have been the enemy that got him. One of our guys might have been eyeing his meds. Back then, we were always coming back with fewer people than when we started out with. Some died and some left. Who's to say one of them didn't take the chest and scrammed? Back then, people only cared about what they needed at the moment. It wasn't uncommon for infighting to happen because they found something valuable. Crews like that would either crumble or fall apart by themselves. Aaron frowns. It seems like he's realizing something because his tone changes. That said, it's the yellow zone, Leo. It's like that everywhere. We're all going to die sooner or later, so I'll just have to fight to survive for as long as I can. How did that saying go? Seize the day. I thought that, rather than drifting aimlessly, it was better to find a place to settle down. It wouldn't necessarily be worse than being a bounty hunter. That's why we came to Darksteel Farm after the crew disbanded. Strange silence fills the jeep. Just then, we spot a plume of smoke in the distance. Commander, pack of Elas is approaching us. They're just in time. I've been meaning to give some of these old bones of mine a little workout. Bowed by the doll's fire, the Elas instinctively flock toward a direction where the gunfire is more sparse. There, Garen and the rest of his expedition team members are having a hard fight. I'm gonna have a go if you're hard enough. Garen's shout becomes a cry of pain. His heavy armor provides him with a solid defense, but it also makes him too slow to avoid the attacks coming from all directions. Eva's voice comes in over our encrypted channel. Commander, we have largely cleared the site out. Should we go over to assist? No need to rush. I approach the combat area and wait for my signal. I watch Inspector Leo head toward Garen. After ensuring that the tactical situation is under control, I take out my binoculars. Behind Garen, an Ilid is about to bash his brains out. Garen, get down! Inspector Leo raises his gun and Garen instinctively ducks. The bang which follows is lost in the clamor of battle, but the Elid behind Garen crumples to the ground. However, this is just a single insignificant moment on the battlefield, and more Elids pounce on them. Yuhua, Sabrina, go back them up. Sure thing. I've been waiting for this. Even after putting down my binoculars, I can still see Kifua dragging Sabrina over to help them. From the driver's seat, Rosa smiles. As lively as ever. Kifua, I mean. Yes, she's very good at managing the mood. The battle soon ends, and the others return to their jeep. Garen and the Inspector collapse into their seats to regain their strength. Everyone alright? Some of our boys on the Jeep over there are hurt. Nothing major though, it's no big deal. It was a little close back there, but we're vets of the Yellow Zone, so it's not like we haven't seen this shit before. Back when we first came to the farm, it was still a heap of rubble, and there were yields running around inside its perimeter. Aaron was always at the head of the pack whenever there was an attack. Still remember those days, Garen? How could I possibly forget? We couldn't find anywhere to take cover, so we had to pitch our tents inside one of those condemned buildings. I think it was around the same time as now, yeah? You had to sleep with one eye open, and one night I woke up to an eelid about to bite my fucking nose off. Oh yes, it was cold that night. I thought we were done for. We used up all our ammo and nearly froze to death. Eva tenses up as she hears this. What happened then? How did you survive? Well, we somehow managed to fight them off. While we were picking up the pieces, we suddenly heard a broadcast on the radio. It was a festive song, and Garen began whistling along with it. Soon everyone joined in, even though their singing was terrible. Still remember the warmth of the sun that day. It was a good start to the day. I still remember a passing green zone convoy asked if we were setting off fireworks last night. Yeah, we were shooting off fucking RPGs all night long. How's that for fireworks? They go back and forth, reminiscing about the past. The mood in the air is the most relaxed that it's been so far. You shot that eelid off my face back then, didn't you? Just like now. Like just now. Man, I'd have been dead if it wasn't for you. That eelid had a whistle on it. I cleaned it and gave it to you as a memento. Still remember it? Of course. I've been holding on to it all this time. At this point, Garen falls silent and says no more. The Spectre looks calmly at Garen. So, working together was worthwhile, right? After that, we built the farm into what it is today. I believe that focusing on rules and helping each other meant that the farm wouldn't fall apart after a few years, like most bounty hunter crews. You know how it is. We humans are tiny specks. It's only by banding together that we have a chance against the storm of life. Ifwa nods vigorously, almost about to chime in with approval. I tug on her and interrupt her from doing so. Well, it's almost time for the festive trade fair. Our collapsed pieces were stolen, and we can't buy the supplies we needed. The farm's facing an invisible storm of its own. We built this farm together, and I want to keep it standing until the very end. Garen, will you help me like you did back then? Garen looks down, and then he laughs. You're stubborn as ever. The inspector turns away with a look of disappointment on his face, looking at the road ahead. Just then, a text message alert breaks the silence. Gentlemen, Aminta is here, and we're almost at the designated meeting point.
戦勝祝いにナンバ作ろうかいな。
But
みんなのために。
後悔しても知らないよ。 状は高づいた。皆の者、よくやったな。
There are two people in the vehicle shelter. They're leaning against a truck in the shelter waiting for us. We dismount to show our respect and trust. That said, despite being several hundred meters away, one of them is already jumping and hopping around. Commander Star, over here. Bepley's here. Bepley happily runs up to us. Don't worry, Commander. Bepley knows today's mission. Bepley will put on a good show. Mr. Pizza? Is something wrong? Wolfin quickly fiddles with Bepley's M. Pizzaris backpack, taking advantage of Bepley's distraction to flash the others a placating smile. Sorry, she's new. I'm Minda. It's nice to meet new clients. Hilo strives mightily to control her laughter and looks away, not daring to look further. Sabrina smiles too, only Grotzo remains calm. The commander has given me a rough summary of the situation. I brought what you want. The payment will be in installments. The details are all in the contract. Since time is tight, shall we set off now and bring the goods back to the settlement right away? Hang on. I want to check the merch. Open the cargo bay and let's have a look at it. As he says this, Garen brings his armed expeditioners over to the truck. Certainly. Kolfin calmly opens the cargo bay. The expedition team members move crate after crate of cargo out and lay them in neat rows on the ground before inspecting them. As they move toward the crates deeper within, Kolfin moves to stop them. We're deep in the middle of the yellow zone, right? Surely bringing them all out would be a little dangerous. If we ran into the Variagers, well, my humble enterprise wouldn't be able to take the losses if you couldn't move them all back in time. Aaron, we're getting the goods first and paying them later. We can inventory the cargo when we get back. No need to worry about them pulling tricks. Yep, that's right. Anything could happen out here, so it's best to get it back to safety first. Aaron, just check a few of them. We should prepare to head back soon. The expeditioners do not stop opening crates and ignore the inspector's words. My pulse quickens. These resource crates are placeholders borrowed from the Elmo. Not all of them are filled with supplies, and there's no telling when they'll open one that's filled with sand. Fine. Stop and load it all back up. Let's go. We'll lead the way. The inspector turns away. The weapon chambers with an audible click from behind him. More plumes of dust rise up in the distance as more jeeps drive over, easily cutting us off from the truck. These vehicles have the emblems of the expedition team on them, but they weren't in the convoy just now. Leader Garen, what is the meaning of this? Is this what you chose in the end, Garen? Armed and armored men jump down from the jeeps and approach us. Their guns are aimed at the inspector and me. The dolls immediately form a screen in front of us. Broker, this is farm business. Stay out of it. You'll get the money you were promised, and an extra 10% as a gratuity. Sure, we'll be good. Wolfing smiles and backs up with her hand behind her back, but I sense that she's waiting for my command. I give her an almost imperceptible nod by way of response. And you, commander of the what was it? Emo? Nitty butt out now, we'll pay you off too. Unfortunately, in our line of work, we have these things called principles, you see. Plus I have my reputation to think about, so unfortunately, I can't do that. I mock bow an apology, but stand my ground. Aaron snorts. There are far more expedition members now than before. Clearly, this has given him a huge boost in confidence. Not leaving? And you're just asking to die. Before that, can I ask why you're doing this? On account of the fact that we used to be friends. Shit, you don't know? I figure I can give you a freebie before you die. I took the collapse pieces. I wanted to screw your little festive fair over, and I wanted those losers you took pity on to kick you out, along with all those useless bums you hired. You'd just run the farm into the ground with those losers dragging you down. We and the expedition team do the most and risk the most. I should have been the inspector in the first place. Aaron gets more and more worked up as he speaks, as though he's pouring out years of frustration at once. Do you know how many of my boys died out there? You have recognized their faces? Have you ever seen them bleed, get their limbs torn off, or the crystals growing through their bodies? They died for the supplies we brought back. Why should we share it with those useless bums back at the farm? Those vendors and scavengers are all equally useless. This is the yellow zone. If we can find it, you think we can't sell it? And our guards are just as useless. If it wasn't for the expedition team covering for them, what the fuck would they even be able to protect? But in the end, the supplies got around to everyone anyway. Aaron waves his gun around wildly as he vents, but he never once points it at the inspector. It seems at the moment getting all of this off his chest is more satisfying for him than just finishing us off. So that's what you were upset about. But have you ever considered what would happen to the farm if things hadn't developed as you expected? What good would the title of inspector be if the farm had fallen into internal upheavals? Would your expedition team be able to escape all that untouched? So what if I didn't think about it? I still believe that anyone who's strong enough can survive anywhere he ends up. You ought to know just how much the farm is spending and how much we're taking in. We pretty much swept all the nearby caches, and our expeditions are going further and further, about twice as long as before. Even if we can sustain our numbers at the moment, what about in 3 years' time? Or 5? Don't forget that all those useless mouths you're taking in are popping out brats too. I can't think of it that way. There are others working in the farm too. They're establishing a logistics chain for you, and the kids will grow up to be productive members of the community. Please reconsider, Garen. Put your guns down. The farm still needs the expedition team. We can still make it work. Are you fucking blind? How many people do you have? How many people do I have? I'll make you a counter offer. Take your hired guns and get lost. Never come back to the farm, and I'll spare your life. So there's no room for discussion then? You can run or die. Pick one. Oh, but don't worry. I'll tell them you died along the way. Everyone will remember you. Once I become the inspector, Darksteel Farm will become the most powerful settlement in the Yellow Zone under me. I'll keep the vendors who can make good pitches. As for the rest, they can screw off. It seems there's nothing else to say. I gave you the chance to leave. You were the one who rejected it. Hit them, boys. Aaron signals to the expedition team to attack. Some of them hesitate since the target is the inspector, but after seeing their colleagues moving, they raise their guns too. Alright then. At some point, the inspector has pulled out an old whistle. He blows on it. The shrill sound echoes through the sky. It is answered by the sound of jeeps roaring through the distance from afar. These are reinforcements from the guard squads. Whoa! Is that a whistle-shaped transmitter? I've been meaning to modify my own transmitters with retro styling like that. I bet it would look great on the commander. Turns out someone else already did it. A whistle, you say? Didn't it come up in that story just now? Oh, it's nothing. It's not important. Let's get ready for battle, too. Rosa, Sabrina, and Kifwa aside, I signaled to Kolfin and Vepli, too. Time for Vepli's exciting debut. I'm ready, Commander. Kolfin drops her gun, ready for battle. Now, the expedition team's advantage is no more. Aaron's eyes go wide, and he looks incredulously at the inspector. You knew? That's impossible. When did you find out? Or did. So you never trusted me in the first place, did you? The inspector's eyes are filled with a complex mix of emotions. 10 minutes ago, I was still thinking that if you were willing to give up on us, I could continue pretending that nothing happened. I'm sorry, Garen. I'm not. You prick. Commander, we're ready for battle. Your orders, please. Roger that. Everyone, mission start.
とでも戦局は傾いた。
後悔しても知らないよ。みじん切りと素揚げ、どっちがよか？
Several guards have Garen tied up. The inspector walks up to him. Tell me where the collapsed pieces are, Garen. You sounded confident enough to give that broker a 10% bonus, so I'm sure you've hidden them somewhere. At first, we thought that Garen wouldn't tell us. After all, the collapsed pieces were a valuable bargaining chip, enough to buy his life. However, he gives up the location so readily that it catches everyone off guard. Got that? Data logged, Commander. I've recorded the coordinates too. It's inside Darksteel Farm, deep inside the ruins, it seems. Sure, I lost. I wasn't wrong, though. I just wasn't strong enough. I admit that. Leo, I'll be watching you from the afterlife. He snorts derisively. Well, leaving that aside, if you ask me, things won't end well for softies like you, Leo. Still, considering we used to be buddies, I hope you make it to the next year. Thank you, Garen. The inspector looks at his former friend. His face is a mask of pity and regret, and he chambers around. Garen leans forward, resting his head against the muzzle of the inspector's gun. Commander, this is an internal matter for the farm. Would you mind? Oh, the dolls and I are just going to go scout the perimeter. It's been a while since we went for a walk in the wasteland. I gather the dolls and lead them away with me. Behind us, the guards have Garen's men at gunpoint. By the time we get back on the jeep, the faint sounds of cracks and pops can be heard in the distance. Sounds just like fireworks in the green zone, doesn't it? Yeah, out with the old, in with the new. Leave all the bad stuff behind and welcome a brand new start. I hope they will see a new beginning. Despite Kifu's attempts to cheer everyone up, everyone is still strangely gloomy. I pat them all on the shoulder. Just then, Perry sends us a transmission. Commander, contacted Aminda as requested. We're together now. I think the sound of gunfire has died down. Can we approach? Yes, escort Aminda to the real meetup point. Arms Inspector will be there after we arrive. Roger that. Perry ends the transmission. Several days ago, after Kifu and I asked Aminda for help, the real Aminda responded to us. I arranged for Perry to have her wait nearby so she wouldn't get caught up in the fighting, while Coldfeet and Vepley impersonated her. The Inspector and Aminda quickly give the supplies a once-over, and on the way back, the Inspector chooses to ride with us. When we go back, I'll tell them that Garen and his expedition team were attacked by Variagers and died. I trust you all know what to do and don't need me to elaborate, right? Understood. Don't worry, our lips are sealed. Can I ask about something? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. I saw some of the expedition team members were kind of confused about what to do, and they didn't really seem too heavily involved with all of this. Are they going to die gloriously too? I warned a lot of those outsiders, so the guards are going to have a good long chat with the survivors. They were probably going to be traumatized after watching their teammates die, so they'll need some follow-up therapy for a while. Then, once they're fully recovered, they can go back to work. The Inspector says all of this with a straight face, as though Expedition Leader Garen had actually been killed in a Variager attack. Ah, Inspector, there's a little splash on your neck. Rena touches his neck to indicate the spot in question. The Inspector reaches up to try to wipe the stain, but only spreads the reddish-brown color further, like a wound that will not heal. Let me do it. And I squirt some water from my hydration pack, and finally the wound is wiped away. I note the whistle-shaped transmitter hanging around his neck is now outside his shirt. Is that the whistle Garen gave you? The Inspector looks down and reaches up to hold it. Yes. He doesn't elaborate, but he doesn't take it off either, only stuffs it back inside his shirt. I didn't fight for a long time before today. But now, I feel like I'm a bounty hunter again. The road is rough and the engine roars. We shake and shudder inside vehicle, not knowing what lies ahead of us. The leader of a bounty hunter crew ought to protect his people. A settlement's leader ought to protect his home. It's the same thing. You are more than qualified to be a leader. My words force a laugh from the inspector. Actually, I have a question I'd like to ask. It's just an idle question, so don't take it seriously. What are you planning to do after this trade fair? The expedition team was your primary source of income, right? The inspector is silent for a while. There are too many things I have to do. I don't know where to begin. The expedition team has lost its leader. We'll need to appoint a new one and recruit new members. Garen's concerns were valid. Farm needs to improve its productivity and find new resources. Path to survival will be difficult, but I believe that when one door closes, another opens. His tone grows more and more grim as he contemplates these matters. Now that I think about it, I should have seen this coming. The expedition team has been unhappy about how resources were allocated for a long time now. I told them that our current reward scheme favors the expedition team's contributions over all others. Plus, even if he had won, it wouldn't change the fact that he'd need a support staff. Everyone in the settlement has their own task to complete. The inspector pauses and looks at Kikwa before continuing. Apart from the scavengers. Huh? Why did you suddenly... Yura told me that the scavengers could effectively develop the ruins and that they knew various agricultural techniques which could provide us with a limitless source of food, but he was wrong. The residents don't see any value in keeping them. That was also one of the factors that drove Garen to his rebellion, although I didn't expect him to actually do it. It isn't just the expedition team that's unhappy with them. If we don't solve the problem of the scavengers, the other residents won't be able to tolerate them either. Do you regret taking them in? Inspector thinks, and he shakes his head. Darksteel Farm is their home, and people in the Yellow Zone have all had times when they were adrift and lost, myself included. Nobody wants to lose their home a second time. I'll do my best to buy them some time, but I also need to take the well-being of all the residents into consideration too. So, in the end, they'll have to rely on themselves. After the inspector says this, we all fall silent for a while. Well, if it's just about the food, I might have a solution there. Or rather, I'm pretty sure I have a solution. We all look at Kihwa. I wanted to mention this earlier, but we all had all this stuff going on, so I never had the chance to tell Yura. Anyway, I saw soulless hazelnuts while we were exploring the ruins. What's that? It's that poisonous plant Yura was talking about. Actually, it grows fruit. You need to crack them open and process them, but in short, they're edible. I spent a long time in the Yellow Zone, running around and studying what new life forms in the Yellow Zone can and can't be eaten. So I think you can trust me on this. Ah, I can vouch for that. Kiva is a proper Yellow Zone master chef now. The fact that they're everywhere in the ruins means raising them is pretty simple. Even if you need some time to grow them, just harvesting what's in the ruins should be able to tide you over for a year and a half or so. Also, they're really filling too. In short, I think the scavengers will be able to feed themselves. It would be great if they could cultivate them. Relax, Inspector. I'm sure the scavengers can do it. The truth is, I disagree with what later Garen had said before. Evil hesitates, but she ultimately decides to continue with the topic. Even if things are tough now, based on what I've seen of people in the Yellow Zone these few years, I believe humans will continue to survive and the world will continue to get better. Someday, everyone will be able to eat their fill and wear a full set of comfortable clothes that fit well and do the work they like. Of course, the requirement for that is that the people don't give up. No matter what choices they make, whether they accept or reject something, they have to keep going on. As for me, I'll keep doing what I can do, which is to make sure everyone gets something to eat. Mr. Inspector, you aren't a weak man. You'll live a good long time. and maybe when your hair turns gray and white, you'll see a kinder, gentler world like we've never seen before. For once, Kifwa is absolutely serious and solemn. Everyone is briefly stunned into silence until Sabrina giggles. Bravissimo, that's exactly the kind of thing you'd say, Kifwa. What do you mean by that? Of course I'd say what I would say. The dolls begin squabbling as the jeep continues forward. And then, from the corner of my eye, I can see the inspector smiling too.
戦場は片付いた。皆の者、よくやった。
みんなのために。
戦勝祝いにナンバ作ろうかいな。
We find the collapsed pieces of the location Garen gave us, and the festival takes place as planned. Unlike the previous years, this year's ceremony includes a memorial service for the fallen members of the expedition team. After the solemn event, the distribution of annual supplies takes place, and the settlement erupts into wild revelry. Chief Yura, your boxes look really heavy. Need help carrying them? Alright, we scavengers didn't have that many contribution points, so we only managed to collect a few boxes. I can handle 3 more loads like this by myself. It's not like you to have to push yourself so hard. Commander, can you understand the joy I'm feeling right now? I'm carrying our supplies, and the more I have, the heavier they are. So the extra weight is actually a sense of security, or the tiredness that comes from happiness. At Yura's insistence, all we can do is watch him return with his hands full, without lifting a finger to help. By the time we return to the scavengers' camp, Aoife has just finished her tutorial on how to cook and prepare the solace hazelnuts, and then we can hear her bright, cheery voice through the flaps of the tent. Once again, I emphasize you absolutely have to make sure you cook it thoroughly. If it's not properly cooked, you mustn't eat it. Rosa has taken Sabrina to go shopping, which leaves me with nothing to do but watch the scavengers as they begin cultivating their test plot. Shortly afterward, I hear footsteps from behind as Kifwa walks up to me. Done with the lesson? Yep, my students are doing self-study now. I hope I don't get any food poisoning cases tonight. Kifwa moves to my side. Scavengers are laboring on their various tasks, and for the moment, so nobody notices us. In the past, I left that green zone farm because I saw a lot of cases where people and places fell apart. When I delivered fancy and expensive ingredients to green zone restaurants, I watched people throw away leftovers without a second thought. When I did deliveries in the yellow zone, every moment and every place I visited had people plagued by hunger, pain, and fear. I couldn't change the restaurants in the green zone, but there's a lot I can do in the yellow zone. Aoife's voice is quieter and gentler than usual. Truth is, I wasn't always good at cooking, but I spent the past few years focusing on food, looking for hidden gems among ingredients and figuring out how to prepare them. Slowly, my cooking skills improved. Food. It seems to have a magical power that can ease pain. People would sigh in relief after eating the stuff I made. Perhaps feeling hungry is something like the hope to survive, don't you think? You've grown a lot in your search for cooking skills. You've done well during this incident. Really? Aoife looks at me, her eyes shining like stars. I'm glad you approve, Commander. You know, I haven't thanked you for helping me with this whole thing, Commander. You don't need to. This was an interesting experience for me. What do you mean by that? Of course I have to thank you. Well, it started out as just fulfilling a request from my old boss. Halfway through, it turned into carrying out the mission that I assigned myself. Whether it's the scavengers here or the residents in the settlement, I want to spare them all the pain of hunger and give them the courage they need to live on. You think I managed to do that, Commander? Well, the look on your face tells me you're pretty proud of what you've done. Still, since you want me to praise you, I'll praise you again. Haha, thanks, Commander. Satisfied, Kifua decides to change the topic. Now that you mention it, our reunion turned out completely different from what I originally planned. I was gonna sneak aboard the Elmo with a whole bunch of awesome ingredients and brand new skills, then announce myself with a full-on banquet. How did I end up making such a sloppy entrance anyway? Can we do it again, Commander? You know, pretend you never saw me, give me a chance to sneak aboard the Elmo. This reunion is good enough. Don't worry about it. True. Sorry, it was sloppy, but that was just because of the circumstances. Our reunion was everything I wanted. I'm glad to be back by your side again. I laugh and pat Kifua on the back. The scavenger's voice comes from the tents, calling for Kifua. Miss Kifua, where are you, miss? Could you show us a few more dishes, please? I'm coming. Kifua bids me farewell before rushing toward the tents. Wait, Kifua. I just remembered that Mei-Ling, she's our machinist aboard the Elmo, sent a recipe for Jiaoxi? I don't know how to pronounce that. Filling a while back. Seems she wants some. Can you do anything with it? No problem. Jiaoxi are part of my specialty. Just leave it to me. Send Kifua Mei-Ling's recipe. At the foot of the highlands, another person approaches me. It's the inspector. This is the first time I've seen the scavenger camp so lively. We meet again, Commander. The inspector looks around and greets me breezily. Chief Euro's by the tents. No, I'm here for you. The inspector takes an envelope from his pocket. The special entry permit is for you, an additional gift above and beyond what was promised in the contract. For the sake of our continued friendship. I look at the permit, which bears the inspector's personal signature. I suddenly recall all the crap we went through and being chased by the checkpoint guards because of this, giving me an urge to chuckle. On behalf of the farm's residents, and myself, of course, I would like to thank you for the help you gave the Darksteel farm. Even if I can't publicly declare it, this permit will serve as a symbol that the Elmo will always be a friend of the farm. Yeah, you're welcome. Now that I've delivered my gift, I'll be heading back. Why not stay for dinner? Eve was cooking up a storm. I have to take care of things at the admin center. We'll share a drink next time. The inspector waves to us and goes back the way he came. Commander, we're back. Rosa brought tons of cute little trinkets. And me too. I stocked up on cheese. Sabrina, don't bring it up. Why hide it? Today is the day of celebration. It's okay to go over budget if it's once in a while. Why do you have so much food? Stalia forced us to take it. She said it was thanks for saving her life. She spent a lot of contribution points on them, but apparently the inspector transferred her some from his personal account. Ah, so it's a gift. That's good to hear. Send it all to Kifua. We'll have extra dishes tonight. Evening comes as smoke from the cook fires curls into the sky. In the distance, the trade fair and the settlement glow brightly in the twilight. Around us, the tents are suffused by a warm radiance. I call Mei-Ling and all the dolls who aren't occupied at the moment to the campsite so they can enjoy the evening with us. Hot, 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 coming through. Make way, make way. Hey, where did all the Jiaozi go? Save me some, come on. Eva's voice fills the air as she strides out with big plates of food in hand. Around her, the scavengers exchange seasonal greetings as they celebrate surviving another year. Commander, sometimes I feel like the fire in the stove is like a little ember of hope, because whenever there's smoke from a cooking fire, there's hope and a future. After thinking for a bit, I nod in agreement. No matter how hard the previous year might have been, People's hearts are still filled with joy in the moment when a plate of piping hot food is laid on the table, and their shared enjoyment of the dishes brings them closer together. Commander, have a good time. Well, the coming year is going to be a good one, right? I'm sure it will. Alright. Oh. Another nice little shorter event. Just to introduce us to her personality and such. I'd say definitely not as interesting as the last event, given... Well, I don't know, maybe not a fair comparison, but... Anyway, the next event is already going to probably be dropping. I think it was like a week or so from now, so I kind of got to this a little late, but I've been not really able to easily stream lately, as my schedules have been kind of all over the place. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and tune in next time to the next event. I'll probably be streaming, hopefully sooner than later, but you know how that is. Anyways, hope you guys have a